Good evening, everybody. We are back with Shadowrun Hong Kong, and it's going to look a little bit different this time around. So I've got a host coming up, so I suspect probably there's always a little bit of a lag where this stuff doesn't quite work properly. We'll just stay on the opening menu, as is our way. And I'm interested not only in when the host drops, but I also want to take a quick look and see whether or not, I have my transcoding options. Because if we don't, I'm in trouble. Media resource not supported. Talking crazy. All right. We are still good with transcode. So, this game's going to look a little different than what it normally does on my stream because we will be streaming it in 60 frames per second. One of the things I will say about that is with each new version of Shadowrun Hong Kong, the game is... sorry, not Shadowrun. Each new version of the Shadowrun game, it's looked just a little bit better, sometimes a lot better. And they've added more. I think this is one of the best looking, and it is I'd say a high bar to reach, simply because I thought Shadowrun Dragonfall looked so good. I'm really enjoying this so far. I think maybe as background for those of you who are perhaps familiar with these or have been watching this channel for a while, I did actually begin the game. I mean, I first played it when it first came out, which was ages ago. I kickstarted. I effectively kickstarted everything that Harebrained Schemes does. But the same thing sort of happened to me with Shadowrun Dragonfall, which was I took a long break from it, and it's not because I dislike the game by any stretch of the imagination. I think the game might be a little bit loud. Hopefully that balances it out. That's one of the nice things about kind of these opening chats. It gives me a chance to sort of get the levels. If any of you happen to be speaking or present, especially for those of you who know my existing levels, I definitely love that kind of feedback. If the game to voice volume works, we'll get into the game pretty quickly. But yeah, even with Shadowrun Dragonfall, which is a story I absolutely loved, I definitely took a while to get started, to finish the game. This one I've actually had 2 long breaks from, but one of those was really because I had to move across the country. So this is the first time I played it in the new place. But of course, the nice thing is that I do have transcodes basically off the top now, so we get to stream at 60 frames per second. This does mean that I've upped my bitrate, and so if you are getting a little bit of either of stuttering or if the stream is dropping for you, I would recommend using one of the quality options. High is usually enough for most people, but medium or low if you have to. Of course, if you're just here for the sound of the voice, one need only do mobile. But actually, I don't need to worry about that. We can just hit continue. The game crash, the crash report folder named 2016-1026-210036 next to the game executable. It would be great if you'd send that to the developer of the game. Thank you very much for that, host Alex. All right. It's all good. Rough start. I may need to just directly load the game. Actually, let's try continue again. Nope. Hey, your adrenaline wanes as you fly through the subway tunnels on your way back to Haoi. There isn't much left to do but pick up the shards of glass off your clothes and congratulate yourself on one hell of a run. It's just too bad you couldn't keep all the looted antiquities. By the end, you'd managed to steal over 10,000 million worth of items for your client, a number that will hopefully be reflected in your mission pay. The damage you caused will likely set the museum's development back even further. Not enough to cripple the project, just enough to send a message. But at the end of the day, you still managed to break a lot of exhibits, displays, and even the faces of a few tomb crawlers, the presence of which had conveniently slipped Drake's mind. Surprises aside, you came out on top, and thanks to some quick thinking on Drake's part, you got the books and you got out. All right. Now, I don't recall whether or not I did all the dialogue with people. So I think we'll start with the mission computer and work our way out. So, no inbox messages. Shadowland BBS. I already did that. No pay data. All right. Also take a look. I don't know if we took one of the jobs yet or not. I'm gonna guess no because I don't have the indicator in the top left-hand corner. But oh, actually, it looks like we have. If it's okay with you guys, I am actually gonna up the game volume a little bit. That's just because I don't get to hear the soundtrack, which I really enjoy. If it's too loud for you, though, please let me know. I definitely don't want to be drowned. I don't want to have the game sort of drown me out, but I think this might be a balance that we can manage. All right, now we definitely didn't have Raktor vanish last time. I also don't recall that door being closed. Okay, everybody's gone. Maybe we go to Kindly Cheng first? I should maybe recap. I could recap the story, but I don't recall how many people. I feel like this is one of the better known games that I've done. So I think most people who watch know it. If anybody would like a refresher on the plot, I'm happy to give it, but I don't want to. I think any summary I give is gonna miss important details. And of course, it's also going to mean that I don't get to have engagements with characters like Crafty Zhu. Hey there, still don't have any new information on the Yama Kings or their dreams. I think we're going to have to wait and see how things shake out. Okay. So we've probably done all of our dialogue and we just need to do a mission, but I will take a minute and just talk to the denizens. I don't think I'm going to spend any of my money until I know what the next mission is. I remember, I think it was saving for a gun. Jin frowns. Look who's back. Why don't you go egg a car or something and leave us alone? I, for one, enjoy 71's visits. A hint of a smile touches Lao's lips as Jin grumbles to himself. How can we help you? Sorry to interrupt. I was just wondering if you're all still having the dreams. This again. Don't you have anything better to do? Yes, we're still having the dreams. Lao's voice is calm but troubled. However, they've gotten a hell of a lot worse. Jin shifts uncomfortably. Look, let's not go into detail. So actually, maybe one of the better ways that I can introduce this game, I think for, I don't know, old school gamers, I'd say either anyone who likes older games or perhaps played them when they first came out, I think really I don't think it would be unfair to say that Baldur's Gate was probably a bit of a path breaker in terms of the sort of these isometric RPGs. This particular style. I mean, since then, it's had a little bit of its own renaissance with Divinity Original Sin, with the Shadowrun games, with Pillars of Eternity, Tyranny coming out, another Paradox interactive one developed by Obsidian. What else? I feel like I'm missing some. I mean, I played a little bit of Dragon Age Origins for the first time a while ago, and I actually thought it was it was not dissimilar, although it obviously moved around. And of course, some of the classics are coming back. So Planescape Torment now is just, I think it's Torment, or is it Torment Tides of Numenaria? Anyways, Wasteland a lot of these games, either in this style or ones which had been in that way first, are coming back, which is really encouraging. And of course, now, I mean, with like this is made in Unity. It's a great looking game. I think a really great example of what you can do with an engine like this. Of course, it's an exceptionally talented team behind it, so it's maybe not so surprising that it turns out so well. But I live for this stuff. I really think with each subsequent Shadowrun game, they've just been outdoing themselves in terms of the story. And I mean, Dragonfall set such a high bar. I'm definitely interested in this one, and I really like the cutscenes that they put in between. I think they're adding to it. But in the end, I mean, any game, two big things for me is, one, it's strategic enough. The combat is turn-based. So, you know, you can imagine something a little bit like XCOM. So if you enjoy that kind of action, then there's something in this game for you. But more importantly, if you really like stories, I really don't think you can do better than these ones. And for me as a streamer, especially somebody who doesn't have a cam and sort of needs to rely on, you know, either communication or on connection or however you want to put it, I need to rely on my voice. I love the fact that I get to do some of the voice acting, even if it's corny as hell. I really do enjoy it. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't visit our dear friend Reliable Matthew. Reliable Matthew stands quietly, cheap suit wet with rain, tapping his foot absently to the smooth jazz pervading the lot. A halo of cigarello smoke surrounds him. Hey, beautiful! Good to see you. Let's set you up, shall we? Goodbye, Matthew. Yeah, I think we've pretty much exhausted the dialogue for everybody who either isn't a mission or, I mean, there's the possibility that we get, something new off of that mission, but I think that was just a standard, run that we did, so I don't see how that would change any of the plot. Yo, 71! Welcome back to the palace! The palace of boom! La laughs to himself. Yeah, see you later, La. See you, 71. Watch out for yourself, carnivore. Long live the boom! Mr. Franz, thank you very much for that house as well. I hope you're doing well. Frederick watches the street with a stolid, sullen diligence. He shoots you a glance, clearly preoccupied. Got a lot on my mind. The old troll patriarch has a look of quiet resolve in his eyes. Hello, 71. I will abide. I will. Callum. Callum seems both unusually sober and unusually thoughtful. I'm thinking hard about what you said. Thinking about it hard. Need anything to get your blood up? I suppose not. Oh yes, of course, whenever we're in Club 88, it's very important that we get the proper resolution. Mr. Franz, have you ever played this game? The troll woman looks even more weary than you've ever seen her. The club is virtually shut down, and she doesn't seem to care. She lost that presence which once had so defined her, and it's left her visibly smaller. The world's gone mad, hasn't it? The world's always been mad. What's happened? She looks at the nearby photo of her son Callum hanging from the metal shelf. Callum thinks Henry isn't his father. He thinks I had an affair. He even threatened to tell Henry if I don't let him leave. The truth is, he's right. I did have an affair. I had several affairs. I was young and beautiful, and very aggressive. I was going places Henry was gone to sea most of the time. Henry isn't Callum's father, but I can't tell Callum the truth about his father. It might destroy him. Let me guess, Callum's father is his mysterious new benefactor. See, I thought the game basically told us this already. Yes, he is. That man now whispers promises to my son. A free ride through university, a guaranteed starting position at Baihu, a bright future. Callum doesn't know what that world is like. Once I was ready to leave Henry for that man, he lavished gifts on me, told me I was special. Maybe he really did love me. I was a troll girl from Heoi, transcending her meager beginnings. I was becoming someone of worth, and I even had a powerful human lover. Her mind fixes a level gaze on you. Baihu has always frowned on metahumans. I was an exception. I thought that just because they accepted me, it wouldn't affect me anymore. In fact, I myself looked down on most metahumans as oversensitive and lazy. Then he invited me to a high-level corporate retreat for the weekend. And they treated you badly? No, I was treated like a princess. However, my eyes were open to the depth and cruelty that I'd been ignoring. Do you want to know what they do at these retreats? They hunt. But what is there to hunt in Hong Kong? Nothing. Nothing but that which is different. Those they secretly disdain. Those they see as animals. They hunt poor metahumans. Somehow they thought I'd be okay with it. They thought that I was one of them. They don't kill their prey. It's more satisfying to let them live, knowing their victims are powerless to find justice. They take trophies. The tips of an owl's ears, an orc's tusks, a troll's horns. She reaches up to stroke her own horns, as if reassuring herself that they're still intact. I realized that I'd already given them a trophy, my basic humanity, my principles. Her mind's voice cool and professional, her expression is earnest. For me, it wasn't about humans versus elves or orcs or dwarves or my kind. I want you to understand that, 71. It was about common humanity. It's about how we treat all people. Go on. I hid my feelings, like any good negotiator in a bad position. Then, once the weekend was over, I cleaned out my office, I came back to Heoi and sent Baihu my resignation. Later I found out I was pregnant with Callum. When the DNA test confirmed that Henry wasn't the father, I meant to terminate the pregnancy, but I couldn't bear to do it. And so Callum, my son, one of the joys of my life. Maybe this man fancies himself as Callum's father. Even if he does, that still doesn't guarantee Callum's safety among those people. Baihu is still Baihu. Maybe that man just wants to get back at me for leaving. After all, he had the audacity to say that I broke his heart. That's why I can't allow Callum to go. I would rather my son hate me forever than give himself to that world. Her mind draws herself up to full height. She restores her usual regal bearing. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have troubled you with my problems. You probably came here on business and your time is valuable. Can I show you anything? I'll take a look after that story. So, Mr. Franz, this is a really good game. So if you would like my opinion, if you are interested in the Shadowrun games, if you're ever going to play Shadowrun Returns, I recommend that you start with it. The reason I say that is it's the first in the series. It was the one that they kickstarted, and they were kind of taking a shot on it being, popular enough, on being the sort of thing people would be happy with. And it's going to sound like I am severely undervaluing it, and perhaps I am. I would say out of all of your Shadowrun options, it's the weakest. But keeping in mind that I say this knowing that it is a very high bar. So, it is less of a reflection on the game. It's a fantastic game. But I would say out of all of them, I think the story didn't quite do as much for me as, say, Shadowrun Dragonfall, which I thought was one of the best stories. I think I played that last year. I feel like Dragonfall was a game from 2015. I'm sorry guys, I'll just take a quick second. I want to make sure I get this right. So Dragonfall Director's Cut was 2014, but I think I finished it 2015. Anyways, Shadowrun Dragonfall is an absolutely outstanding story. Now, of course, you can start with that right away. I think there's the potential that you may be a little disappointed if you go from a really outstanding game like Dragonfall and play just a really, really good game like the original Shadowrun. And again, that is no disrespect to Harebrained, any of the people who worked on Shadowrun Returns. It's just simply that, you know, it's a little bit like anything, right? If you hear you made your best game the first time around, then every subsequent development is, you know, is going to be undervalued. So I think it's the way it should be. I mean, what they've done is they've taken that really strong foundation of the first Shadowrun game, well, the first sort of Shadowrun Returns, and they've just added on it. So the environment effects, you know, the art style looks so much better. More options. The Matrix in this third game is better than the other two. So they've specifically been moving it up. If you can earn some money in the winter, you're going to try it out. Absolutely. It's the nice thing too is I believe in the past GOG has actually put the trilogy on sale. So let me just take a quick look here and see how they bundle it. Looks like they're individual ones. I do feel though like I really feel like the trilogy winds up kind of going on a special sale. I'd suspect probably around like Christmas time or something like that. So definitely take a look for it. It's a really, really well done series. Assuming you like stuff like this, but it's, I mean, if you like, again, Torment, Wasteland, Pillars of Eternity, Baldur's Gate, any of these sorts of things, it's a very well done story, and again, I think the gameplay, the combat, and the interactions are enough to keep me going as well. Ambrose anxiously sips his whiskey. Big storm coming in, 71. Gonna go to bed soon. You need something? Alright, and I'm gonna take a look at my cyberware options. Now, last game I actually planned out what I wanted, and I blew it because I didn't write it down. So I'm just going to take a quick peek at what I have here so I can gain willpower at the expense of intelligence, which I don't want to do. All right, so either one of these gives me the same bonus, but for 500 new yen extra, I can lower my essence loss. Alternatively, I can lose more essence and gain intelligence and decking, although, you know, I don't really need decking. As far as a cyber weapon, I actually don't do that much melee combat, so I'm going to ignore that for now. So what I'm really looking for here is body, skin, and left and right leg at the most. Now, I'm usually not one for triggered installs. So probably what I would want would be the Synthcardium Mark II. That or possibly the Super Thyroid, because it gives me +1 to all physical attributes. That might actually be better. Shiawase Bone Lacing is kind of tempting because of the body and strength. Although again, I would want, I think the physical attributes is a little bit stronger. Yeah. So either the thyroid or the Synthcardium. As far as skin, I mean, Charisma is tempting, but not, I don't know if it's to the point where I would want to give up the opportunity for bonus armor. And again, the difference here, you pay up for less essence lost. As far as legs, I think there was a slightly better version of these legs. So we've got 6 HP and quickness, or we've got dodge and quickness. I mean, I'm a little tempted to go for the enhanced articulation, and this would be because the dodge is basically 0 damage as opposed to just the opportunity to take more damage. Or we get the quickness, the dodge, and the HP, so Universal Omnitech. So we need at least 6,000 for the legs. Okay, so 815. 1065. And then the money for the gun. Yeah, we need a lot of money. I suspect actually we're probably not going to completely... We're not going to be able to completely kit ourselves out with the best of everything. So anyways, as suspected, it took me forever to find this out, but we don't actually... we don't have anything new to do. So I guess my question now is I could continue what's probably the main story through Kindly Cheng's information. I think what I should probably do first is actually... I wish I knew what each of these things were. Oh, sorry, there's actually one more thing that there's actually one more merch. Okay, well, I'm going to be going back to Ambrose anyway. I wish I remembered the story reasons for these two missions. Shen is reclining against the stacks of cages as you approach, watching the display of a small trid player on the table. The trid displays the shimmering form of a dancing woman weaving her way through a crowded club. It seems to have been filmed via a portable recorder, or possibly someone's cyber eyes. Draped in a wild clothing that scintillates with lights and holograms, the dancer slips through the crowd like living mercury. Every step and evasion is effortless. You watch the dancer weave her way up a flight of stairs, moving toward a second-floor balcony. As she ascends the stairs, her hand starts to crackle with energy and points of light trace across her neck, shoulders, and spine. In the glitter and flash of the club lighting, no one seems to notice. For a split second, she looks back at the camera's point of view, smiling seductively. Shen gestures towards the holographic display, smiling broadly. Keep watching. It's about to get good in a few seconds. The dancer arrives at the top floor, moving towards a particular table. The table's occupants, triad members judging by their tattoos, rise from where they're sitting and begin to draw weapons. Their expressions indicate they're familiar with the dancer and intend to kill her. At this point, the dancer explodes into motion. She bobs and weaves out of their gunfire, her fingertips flinging electricity and fire in long arcs. She seems to dance at and around the triad soldiers. Each step and beat causes an explosion of force that scatters tables and drinks. Wreathed in the elements, the woman cuts through the triad members in an effortless panve of destruction. Wow. Pavane. I've never seen that word before. Sorry, I actually want to take a look at it. I don't have the Oxford English Dictionary nearby, but a stately dance in slow duple time, popular in the 16th and 17th centuries, performed in elaborate clothing. Huh. Nice. The recording ends and Shen straightens up. I could watch Lucky Ping work all day. I don't know how she works her magic, but it's beautiful and a terrifying thing to behold. Really glad she's with the Yellow Lotus and not an enemy syndicate. Friend of yours? That's right. She's a Redpole in her own right, and Steel Arm Lu's cousin. Scary woman. But if she likes you, she'll stick with you through anything. Shen leans over the display table, palms flat on the surface. So what can I do for you? Do you like working for the Yellow Lotus? Like has nothing to do with it. I have debts to Grandfather Woe, and I intend to pay them. I guess they're a good enough syndicate. We waste a lot of blood and money fighting the Red Dragon, though. I can't say that I like that end of the business, since it seems like a huge waste. If it weren't for Grandfather, I might go about getting Wei Ming, Steel Arm Lu, and Lucky Ping to break away. Maybe start our own thing in turf that's not quite so fought over. Lifting one hand, palm up, Shen smiles faintly. But I can't leave him. I owe him everything. Why would you split off at all? I've heard a lot of talk between the Yellow Lotus vanguards and the Incense Masters. They're dead set on eliminating the Red Dragons, despite the risk. When that kind of talk gets tossed around, nobody's safe. It leads to all-out warfare. Last time that happened, the White Jade Brotherhood got wiped out completely. It's just bad strategy to try to wipe them out. It's all this old rivalry between the elders. It has nothing to do with the business end of things. Old vendettas get you killed, even if they're not yours. Tell me more about your crew. With folded arms, Shen regards you with some suspicion. We're fairly private people. Generally, when I get asked a question like that, I figure it's because someone's looking for something to use against me. Shen's expression softens after a moment, however. Well, you've been a decent person so far. I guess I can tell you some. Wei Ming and I started our cell. Grandfather Woe took him to Wudang a year or two before he did the same for me. He made it clear that he expected repayment in kind. When we were old enough, and since the Yellow Lotus was his organization, we joined up. At first it was mostly small-time stuff. Shell games on the street corners, stuff like that. We picked up a new member after about 6 months, and things started to change. Freedom Seal, Dwarf Kid, absolute murder with twin pistols. The kind of focus that I can bring to Kibaring Kung Fu, that's how he shoots. Shen grins cookingly. His parents named him Freedom and sent him to the UCAS to live with an uncle. Guess they wanted him to be really American or something. Beyond that, there's Yang, the lawyer you saw me talking to before. The four of us do a pretty cozy business, between jobs for Steel Arm Lu and Kindly Cheng. It's not like we have charge of much, but it beats starving, yeah? Talk to you later. Sorry, you can hear the sound of me drinking. I got some good coffee, but I'm going through the bad coffee first. It's not really bad coffee, it's been open for a while, it was already ground, so if you don't drink that right away and I'm on my own. Hey, Kite, how you doing? I was wondering if I'd lost my touch with the game, but the fact that you're here and liking it, that's good. I don't know if you were here, we actually finished Gaiku's story. He'll still be around, but each character in this game, or at least in Dragonfall, kind of got their own story. In my opinion, Glory's was the most interesting. And we did, who have we done? I think we've done Gobbets. I think we've done Isabel's. And we've done, yeah, we did, excuse me. We did, Gaiku, so I guess Ractor? Or did we do one for Ractor as well? Anyways, guys, I'm going to recommend Kite to you. I know it's been a little quiet here tonight. I think some people are watching just because of Shadowrun Hong Kong, so I hope you guys are having a good time with it. I know I'm usually slow to get going on more or less any stream that I do, but around this point we'll usually build up. But if you guys do like Twitch, if you like streams, in particular if you like watching streams for personality, I can give you no better recommendation other than Kite260. He is a very gifted caster, and I say that specifically because of his ability to interact with both his viewers, but also the people he streams with. I have in the past tried to do co-casts with people. I know, Kite, you're gotta be getting sick of hearing this, because I know it's the same thing, but it's actually... I've consciously decided to sort of shout you out for the same thing because I think it's actually a very rare and it's a very special talent that you have. But those of you who've watched this stream for a longer time will know that I do co-casts with Jesse Quill, and I actually have a lot of fun doing them. I think we work quite well together. But I have tried doing co-casts with other people before, and I found it very, very challenging. And I've actually seen, again, I can never say the names because I did find it difficult to co-cast with them, even though they're very, very nice people. But I've actually seen Kite cast with some people that I found it very hard to co-cast with and kind of make things flow and go. And he makes it seem effortless. He's just an extremely good-natured person. You can see this through the support that he gives the casters that he watches. But he's truly somebody I think could co-cast with anybody, even if they were like stoned or something like that. He'd find a way to make it work, and I think that's a tremendous ability for a caster to have, and maybe one that really only ever is appreciated by other casters. On top of that, when he's casting on his own, he's got a really great stable of games. I'm always really interested in what he plays, especially because he plays a lot of console stuff that I don't get a chance to play, as well as some PC games that I don't own. But just a very, very good-natured, good-hearted person. If only for that reason, I strongly recommend that you support him. But in the end, my recommendations ultimately have to come down to people that I think you're going to enjoy watching. And if those reasons aren't enough, I really think you just have to go and see for yourself to see what this guy is all about. So he again, he is one of these people. I'm always a little bit happier when he stops by the channel, and I think once you get a chance to see him live, you're going to see exactly why. Captain Jomo is busily playing some kind of gambling game on his comlink. It beeps and flashes as he taps away. Come on, Jomo. Win, not lose. Maybe buy yourself a new hat. He doesn't appear to have noticed you at all. Oh, not a problem at all, Kite. I finally broken my curse in terms of the follow numbers going up, but I don't think there's as many people here to to see your shout out as I'm used to. I'll try to give you another one when when there's some more bodies inside. The game makes a sad, defeated noise. Jomo curses under his breath, nose wrinkling in disgust. Finally, he seems to notice you. Stupid game. Always it cheats me. Never a good hand. Now, kindly Chen sends you, la? You need Captain Jomo to take you to play pirate? That's right. Okay, so we're going to MV... Is it Nalki or Nalchai? I guess it's Chi if it's Hong Kong. Oh, it's such a good game, Kite. Now, I can't remember. Do you own this? Actually, you know what, for the benefit, it's been a while since we played this, so maybe I'll briefly go over the mechanics as well. So in this game, you've got sort of your core group of people who are just like, you all live in the same place, you're kind of your normal group of runners. And then you also can fill in the ranks with some hired help. That's why you'll see some of these people cost, 450 nuyen. Personally, I've never seen the benefit of hiring these people. It always seems to me just as well. I already have too many people to bring people over. Now, Duncan in the story of this game is sort of my foster brother, and unfortunately, I'm playing as sort of a street samurai. So the security specialist is not so helpful for me at this point. Two people I'm always going to take with me are Gobbet and Isabel. So my Decker and my Shaman. The Decker is helpful to have just because there's always like another passage you can open. The nice thing here, so there's a few different styles of magic in this game. There's sort of the hermetic style of magic, which is, nerds looking over their tomes or maybe their tablets in the future. And reading grimoires, finding arcane knowledge, and sort of directly manipulating the world around them. Almost a very sort of Western kind of tradition of magic. The next kind would be shamanism. Well, of course, when I say Western, I mean Western Europe, because, of course, North America, North and South America, would practice shamanism. And in this, it's a lot more about deals with totems, with the spirits, with the spirit world here. And similar to where you would see maybe a lot of, native culture and mythology, very much in terms of being in tune with nature, sort of an exchange, a bonding between these two things. Another very similar thing with shamanistic magic. And so in this case here, it has less to do with, you exerting your will on the world. Oh, actually, sorry, I think it's willpower is the driving. Anyways, there's one of the physical traits. I can't remember if it's intelligence or willpower in Shadowrun, but anyways, for the purposes of mages as we know them, one way or the other, again, you are directly manipulating the world. Whereas in the case of shamanism, it's a lot more about you you have a great respect and a great bond with your totem. And in this case, it's not so much a direct manipulation so much as it is you working with your, almost like your contacts in the spirit world, but that's not exactly the right way to say it, because in the end you are casting spells. But in this case, these characters have a very high charisma. Now, I don't believe you can actually just click on people and say, okay, you have the highest charisma, so I'm going to send you off to talk to that guy, which is a little bit of a shame. Actually, the next Shadowrun game, assuming there is one, maybe I'll roll a shaman. That would be kind of interesting. The last kind of magic in this game is not one you'd normally associate with magic, but that is actually, it's Why can I not remember what they call it? I know like it's the body trait that runs. Anyways, the best way I could say it is it's the sort of martial arts that you would see and you would associate with Bruce Lee. So when you think of like martial arts, it's not just the fact that they do these incredible feats of strength, but it's also, you know, this heavy discipline behind it, the spiritual element. And so again, in the case of Shadowrun, this is itself a form of magic. But in this case, it is not, you know, casting spells, and it's not making deals with spirits. Here, it's drawing on your inner self and performing these great acts. So in this case, I don't actually have a formal magic user. If I wanted that, I would have to get X-Flow over here. But I think my decision basically comes down to, it's going to be another heavy, although Isabel's actually pretty good with a pistol. I basically need to decide. I could go for Gaiku, who is good for... he's sort of good for bringing along... He's good with his individual sort of physical... Oh, so it's willpower. Okay, so willpower governs both spell casting and chi casting. So he's in your face. He's also a ghoul. Ractor, who is very literally a psychopath. He's more of a rigger. Actually, you know what? That automatically says he's got a little device with, or a little robot with him that that can go physical. So I've got all of my bases covered with this. Whistleblower. The ride out to Nalchi is nerve-wracking. Captain Jomo seems an expert pilot, but massive waves threaten to scuttle his small boat at every turn. Deep thunder rolls in the distance, and at the edge of your vision, lightning occasionally illuminates your target, the MV Nalchi. Nalchi. As Jomo pulls your small craft directly up to the bow of the Nalchi, where you're least likely to be spotted, he throws a rope ladder up over the side, hustling you aboard before pulling you away. Time to get to work. All right, so basically the way that these runs sort of work, there is no possible way that I'm going to use this. But I don't, that's equipment and stash, so. I'll give this to Gobbet mostly just because I can, but I don't think I'm ever actually going to use it. But yeah, so you've got sort of the story, which is going to happen sort of in mostly in that area. Actually, there's usually pretty clearly delineated story areas and mission areas. Although the game will surprise you at times, and then normally you sort of on your way you sort of pick which missions you'd like to do. In Dragonfall, actually, the one way to really play this is to invest yourself quite heavily in the story, which is easy for me to do. I love stuff like this. So I had an intention behind why I named this character 71 and so on and so forth. But basically, in Dragonfall, I actually had very specific moral reasons why my characters did not do certain missions. And it's kind of neat. It seems like the developers have sort of tuned into that. So you do have different achievements that you unlock based on the decisions that you make in this game. So... all right, nice of them to autosave for me. I usually just do the save. Oh yes, I forgot to do my karma. So karma is the experience points in this game. You have karma available to improve your character's abilities and skills. Open the karma screen. I will. I'm not necessarily going to use it because I know I'm starting to sort of max out a lot of my abilities here. So I've got a pretty solid quickness. There's not really a benefit that I can see to improving quickness. I mean, it'll make me a little bit better at shooting. It's it's about half my points basically. So I wouldn't actually be able to get that extra level of... oh, I would have to put that in ranged combat. Yeah, and I wouldn't be able to buy it. Okay, There may be an argument for strength. Now that's just for melee. That would be sort of my backup, but I think in the end, I'm really not going to get in that many fistfights. There may be an argument for charisma just so I can gain additional etiquette. No real reason for willpower, no real reason for... Well, okay, so for intelligence for the enemy HP, it's a pretty crappy reason. I sort of, again, strength has sort of a reasoning behind the fact that in principle one day I could be using cyberware, but I don't think that's a good enough one. Body would be, holy crap, we've got Jessie Quill in the channel. I'm just going to wait until I see her in chat, but you guys have got a shout out ahead of you. And that's a lot of people that came along with that raid. Hello, Jessie Quill and KJR Kisuki. Jessie Quill? 2 raiders out of 61. Excellent. Thank you all for stopping by. Alright, so body will give me more HP. I really feel like I should be putting... Should at least get that extra etiquette, I think. Ah, we've got more. Alright. Samsonite D. T. Clark. Thank you very much, all of you, for stopping by. Could say academic, socialite, gang, security. No, you know what? I've been hanging around gangs enough. Unless it doesn't get... Tempo Frost, thank you very much for that follow. After the way I've been treating people inside of Jessie Quill's channel, I'm very surprised at the follow. Thank you so much. So effective that you don't need the rest. Let's call it a crit. Yeah, you know what? We'll do gang. Samsonite D, thank you very much for that follow. Alright, I've got 8 left. You know what? We'll put the extra point into body. Famicom, thank you very much for that host as well. Alright guys, so Jessie Quill is actually the reason I'm playing this tonight, so she definitely deserves a shout out, and I think before we get into the story here, now let's face it, I just got 10 times as many viewers specifically from here, so I realize that this is a little bit of wasted effort. Oh, thank you very much, Tempo Frost. It's going to be a very, very different, style here. Now, Jess has actually met me in person. KJR Kisuki, thank you very much for that follow as well. Guys, okay, I'll be very upfront about this. Jess could tell you over probably about 2 or 3 weeks, I was getting quite despondent over the fact that I would hit like 12, 30 follows. Hey, Me Devil Mike. I hope you realize that you were untimed out before the 10 minutes was up. If you weren't, well, tough luck. But I hope you got the joke before 10 minutes. But yeah, she can tell you how despondent I was getting over the fact that I sort of had this ceiling of follows, and like it'd always like go down to, oh, you went to make stew. Oh, perfect. It would always like fall to like 228 or something like that, and not including the follows that you guys just gave me. Actually, through some of the follows you gave me during her cast, we've since eliminated that that glass ceiling. Anyways, guys, no, thank you. It does really mean a lot. So I should, I know, again, I'm playing this game specifically because Jess sort of suggested she really wanted to see it. And a lot of you have come specifically from her cast to probably actually just to show her that you like following the stuff that she recommends, if history tells me anything. But that doesn't mean... In fact, at this point, I think the shout-out is more for her rather than you guys. But for those of you who either don't know Jess or are looking for more reasons to check her out, she's a very dear friend of mine. She's a very gifted caster, and of course she does cast with a cam, so you get to see that she is as lovely on the outside as she is on the inside. She's very sharp. She actually has a very savage wit when she allows herself, but I think one of the interesting things about her is where I don't really have a problem just kind of digging into people with whatever cleverness I have. Jess shows tremendous restraint in the face of people. And this is things... She has not only a background in psychology, but she also has a background, if not expressly in computer science, at least in a field very closely related to it, and has worked in IT. So she's actually done things like web design streams, and she's done things like, little more technical stuff, and has just sat there with people who clearly have no idea what they're talking about, telling her how to do the thing that she's doing on cast. And where normally I would shout at people and tell them to fuck off, Jess has just been very even-tempered about it. She's just continued doing her thing. And I think that's actually one thing that I have a tremendous amount of respect for her as well. Because, she is secure enough in her intelligence that she doesn't necessarily need to show it to people. But she... I think one of the things that sort of allows her to have a little more restraint is she's a much kinder individual than me. And I know I said a lot of this stuff about Kite as well, but fortunately, kindness is not a rivalrous good. Jess has been incredibly supportive. I think there are things that she's helped me out with which I could never talk about on cast, on top of the very overt attention that she's given me. She's obviously a much bigger streamer than me. And I think it's maybe worth mentioning here, again, this is some of the stuff that may not be apparent to viewers, but you can look at her follows. I recommend that you join her follows if you haven't already. And you will see that she's in a much better place than I am as far as like the count of followers goes. And in terms of the number of people who watch her, I mean, there were 61 people who were watching her when she decided to host me. God knows how many of those people stayed around. But what would be very normal of a streamer to do in her position? And there are some streamers who've done this, and I've been like, you know what, you got to play the game. And there are some other ones who are just very irritating in how duplicitous they are. But in honesty, so I'd tell you, if she wanted to grow her stream, what she would be doing is she'd be sending like a 60-person host over to a streamer that's bigger than her, and it's kind of a number big enough to for them to notice, and as a result, they'll maybe pay her back a little bit. Or if nothing else, they're a bigger streamer, so in turn, it's going to be enough that they comment on it, and as a result, there might be some people that throw a follow her way, okay? This is just the way people behave on Twitch. I don't necessarily like it, and it's certainly not going to be the way that I do my hosts, but then I'm not exactly the kind of person who people look at that follower count and say, oh, I wish I had that. Jess has never done that. Jess has actually gone out of her way when she's had better options for hosts, and has always hosted this stream. And it's not lost on me that I'm grateful for the attention that she gives me. But I also measure it in terms of what she's giving up by giving over that host. And of course I want to do right by that. I hope that I put on a show that you guys like, and I definitely want to put on a good show for her. Like I said, I specifically picked this game because of her, because it means a lot and she means a lot to me. But those are a few of the other things that I don't actually spend as much time talking about with her. As I said earlier with Kites, it is the personality ultimately that sort of marks a stream for me. And I could tell you a ton about her. I mean, she's playing Dishonored right now, and it's really fun to watch her play it. I kind of want to play the game, but I also sort of want to have that experience of watching her for the first time. But, there's so many parts of her personality. She's an influencer relations manager. In fact, she gave me a really good tip about a game that I'm hoping I get a key for, so I can show you that. And the empathy that she shows, and her understanding not just of gaming, but of broadcasting and the personalities behind them. I really do think out of everybody, when I talk about that personality behind the cast, I really do think Jessie Quill both personifies it and understands it better than anyone. Whether or not this is a direct function of her psychology or of her psychology background, or if just the fact that she has this empathy led her to study a subject like psychology, I maybe leave to somebody who's a little bit better at sorting out correlation and causation. But, you know, she's really somebody who, across all of the things that I think make Twitch a broadcast and entertainment medium, right? She's got the personality, she's got the understanding and the connection with her audience, she's got an understanding of gaming, and she's got a love of games, but never to a point that the game has to become, you know, the end-all be-all. She's perfectly capable of having a conversation about sexuality, or, you know, something that happened to her on the weekend, or maybe somebody's got a problem that they're working through, and she's going to talk through them on that. All of these things have happened on her cast, and where I, as you can see, sort of need to put the game on hold so that I can digest a particular idea that's come up on the cast, Jess is able to work through that seamlessly. And so she's a very special streamer, and I can definitely tell you that she's a very special person. I am much better having had a chance to meet her in person, and I can only hope that I rose to the occasion and merited her attention, because she is quite the person. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to get myself a refill of a beverage. It's only going to take me like 15 seconds, and I will be back in a sec. All right. Climbing onto the foredeck of the Nelchi, you pause to catch your breath. The cargo ship rolls and pitches with the waves that batter her sides, and the rain assails the deck. Deep thunder rolls overhead. After a tense moment waiting for the inevitable alarm klaxons, you hear nothing but the storm. Isabel looks over the edge of the ship toward the rapidly... Hang on. Isabel looks over the edge of the ship toward the rapidly direction Captain Jomo piloted his boat. That pirate really knows how to move that boat. I'm impressed. Gobbet nods, picking her teeth with a nail. I'm buying that guy a bottle of Old Man Cho's back deck hooch if we make it out of this in one place. Fancy driving, boating, whatever you call it. We're exposed out here. When we move, let's do it fast. Isabel sights down her rifle into the darkness of the ship's deck. After a moment, she lowers the weapon and smirks. Looks good. Visibility is near zero, and the storm means that no one will hear us coming. If we can stay out of sight, we should be able to get below decks without incident. If we do get spotted, I'm pretty sure they won't be able to radio for help. They'll have to go to a wired alarm. As long as we keep them away from those alarms, we're golden. Fair point. Let's stay quiet and move quickly. I don't like the second response because it implies we're ready to take people out. One big thing about this story is that we did not start off as Shadowrunners, unless of course you choose to have your main character sort of have that kind of backstory. You can write whatever you really want for your main character. He's sort of a blank slate. But am I intellectual, Jesse Quill? I mean, sure, I can talk about Proust. Actually, I started reading Down and Out in Paris and London. I was upset after chapter 2. I don't know how quickly I'm going to get through that book. But yeah, I don't necessarily like, especially with two people who are involuntarily Shadowrunners, I don't like the idea of just, you know, automatically dropping people if they get in the way. Isabel gestures towards a nearby computer readout that appears to be unlocked, affording easy access. You know, I could probably hack into the ship's system from that control box. Maybe we could get a better idea of what's going on with the ship. Good thinking. This is a simple interface for the Nalchi's above-deck systems: drainage, running lights, water pressure, and cameras. Most of the systems seem to be basic enough that you wouldn't be that you wouldn't be able to do much with them. The camera feeds don't appear to be being broadcast to the bridge. They're going straight to recording. With a little work, you could change that and get a better view of the deck. Have Isabelle hack the camera feeds. After a few moments of fiddling with the cables, Isabelle closes the panel up. There we go. I've rebooted the cameras and patched them into our comlinks. Lock ship security out. Couldn't get into the cameras inside the ship though. They must be on a different circuit. Alright. Now, in this one, this may have been an option that I never realized in the earlier Shadowrun games, but this one you do have a little bit of a stealth option here. So if we do see somebody on the deck and they don't notice us, we sort of get to decide if we want to engage or not. So for instance here, as long as I don't like walk into their vision or something like that, they're not necessarily going to attack me. So again, it would be dumb for me to walk up the ladder right now. I don't even know if I have the option, to be honest. I'll wait till somebody's turning around, but... yeah, we don't have the option. So, again, if you want to sort of lay the trap, you drop it. Oh, good. I wasn't sure if the audio was. Oh, Jesus Christ! This is the same level. So basically, if you want to start firing, you can hit this, and it'll go into a turn-based mode. All right, this changes the equation a little bit. I'm just going to wait till he finishes his circuit, and I think I'm going to have to go through this door. Yeah, it's actually going to be a little bit of a run, so to speak. Feeling we're going to get spotted doing this, but nope, we made it. So again, we'll wait for this guy to continue on his patrol. Run for your life, friends. Stop them before they raise the alarm. So who got caught? Was that Isabelle? This is a really tough. Okay, I'm gonna be a little scummy. I am actually gonna reload it at the autosave because I want to see if I can actually pull off. I want to see if I can pull off a full stealth on this. I won't do like a full set of reloads or something like that, but seeing, I was going to say, I don't have control over, like it isn't just my main character that they can look at, it's my entire party. So now that I know that, I actually want to see if I can pull it off. Yeah, don't know anybody who does that, Jesse Cool. Oh God, I forgot I spent my points. And the plane body. Tempo Frost, I believe there was a first-person shooter made. If I have time at the end of the cast and you're still around, I'll actually show you on the Harebrained Schemes team, there is a guy who worked on the first-person shooter one. But there have been a few different Shadowrun games. So, I mean, this was originally a pen and paper RPG. And Jordan Weisman, the guy who, who wrote it at FASA, he also made Earth Dawn and Battletech. Battletech's going to be getting its own game from Harebrained in 2017. I also kickstarted that. But There was a Super Nintendo game. There was a Genesis game, which I actually really liked the hacking mechanics for. Oh crap! Okay, I'm gonna go one more time. For real, this will be the last time I reset. So in addition to the SNES and Genesis game, there I think was a first-person shooter for PC. I believe there was an attempt at an MMO, which has now become a little bit more like this. It's called Boston Lockdown, I think. I actually own it. Haven't put as much time in it. And then the original team getting, like the original designer working with his company Harebrained Schemes has been Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, which was one of my favorite stories to play last year. That was last year I did that, right, Jesse Quill? I believe that's the history of Shadowrun on computer, but I could be wrong. You know, T. Clark, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world. Like, Harebrained Schemes, in addition to, like, the Shadowrun and Battletech games that they've done, I've actually also had, I played an iPad game. I did not know who Harebrained Schemes was, but I played a game called Crimson Steam Pirates, which I also really enjoyed. And it turns out it was the same company. So... yeah, Temple Frost. I mean, so I believe the SNES game was actually a very popular one. I never got to play it. Genesis I only ever played because I got to play an old Genesis with a copy of it on. But it was interesting. And I've just been playing, you know, the Shadowrun Returns and its follow-ups. As I recommended in to chat before, if you're gonna play these remakes, damn it, who spotted me? But if you are going to play these games, I would recommend... So I can't actually see anyone. So I'm curious where these alarm boxes are. It might be one of these. Alright, I think I'm just going to have to stand out in the open unless... I mean, I could just maybe try and take cover on the first turn, and then... yeah, that's probably the smarter call. Oh god, I've got three moves? Okay, oh, and I want it to be the Semopal, I think, does more damage. Nope, the HK does. Okay. Anyway, so for the Shadowrun games, I would recommend if you are going to play Shadowrun Returns, make sure it's the first one that you play, because Dragonfall really just completely blows it out of the water as far as quality is concerned. Both very good games, but just there can be only one. As far as the rest of the series goes, like I said, Dragonfall was probably my favorite out of the games. Now you're going to see what the combat looks like. It's a lot like XCOM. And yeah, overall though, I mean, honestly, if you like isometric RPGs, if you like turn-based games, you can't do better than this series, in my view. All right. Isabel also has a pretty devastating shot. Actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Gobbet. And I'm going to make sure that people get haste. She also gets 3 acts. So 1 to get her into position. The real question here is, do I want to give 71 another turn? That's very tempting to do. Or do I give another to Isabel so she can take her actions? Let's see what kind of cover I can get her into. Nothing great. Well, actually, okay, so here's another strategy. I go around the corner here, and we just take out the security mage. Yeah, so this gives me an argument to give haste to 71. Mages are particularly vicious, so it's in my interest to take this guy down. Now, as far as Raktor goes, I actually want to use his automated buddy here, Kashai. I just don't remember. Oh yes, here we go. Control mode. So notice that this actually costs Raktor a turn. All right. I think here I'm just going to start. So there's one of 2 things I can do. I can do the security rigger to take out this bot, or I can start causing some pain on the security captain. I think that's probably the better call here, because I don't know if this is an alarm or not. Oh, and I missed. Oof. There we go. Alright, now with my remaining 2 moves, there's not a lot that I can really do with Raktor. Again, it's ideal if I can get him into cover, but there's not a lot of cover options at the moment. And he is the last one to move, so I mean, I could spend the entire turn moving him around, but none of these are really ideal spots for him. I think, you know what, we'll have to set this up. Hopefully they focus on Kashai, not him. Okay, and this is good news. So it's only the people in one area here that do anything. So again, the reason why I got Isabel to give 71 some extra moves is he's one of my most powerful characters, and it affords me the mobility. I think Jess can tell you the way that I think Jesse can tell you that probably one of the ways I really like playing any game is to have high mobility. I think here, because I've got such a good aim, I'm just going to open up on the security captain. The reason I'm doing this is because he has a very high armor value, and I don't really have any armor-piercing weapons. Well, I could use the phosphorus grenade. I think I can take him out, though, with a spray. I cannot. So instead, let's try and go for the crit. Failure. Okay, so next up, Raktor is still in control mode, and we're going to get Kashai. This is actually a really great spot for Kashai to be, because he can still do the damage, and it's also going to get the security rigger next in line. As far as Raktor, he should have line of sight on... He doesn't. Interesting. Anyways, yeah, so I think Jessequill can tell you that when I play games, I tend to like very high mobility. Oh god, I did this wrong. Alright, let's overclock Kashai. And Rigger's worst nightmare. Alright. But yeah, so I tend to be I tend to be a little bit more focused on high mobility, so I can usually just make up for my mistakes. Alright, now that's not so good because I thought I was going to have a clear shot on them. What this is going to do is it's going to waste Isabelle's move. You know what? Fortune favors the bold. Not in this case, though. Okay. I only get one move. So hopefully this is far enough for the acidic fog. Oh, it is. Okay, good news. So this is gonna try and cover all of the enemies. Perfect. So the mage is gonna have to move out of this. And so again, the intention here was to waste that enemy's turn moving through the fog. Alright, hi username intensifies. And sorry to hear about the app there, Mr. Franz. Alright. Interesting. Okay, so I think I need to understand how cover works a bit better in this game. If you would like, Medieval Mike, you can share the Kickstarter link in the channel if you are so inclined. Alright, so I'm just going to hang out for a little bit and see. I think it's just a big circuit that they do around here, but it'd be nice to confirm. Yeah, so basically I can get away with running as soon as their backs turn to me around here. I'll give myself a little bit of a buffer so that they turn their back like that. Oh, come on. That must have been because I moved close to them here. So I'm pretty sure this is the alarm. Alright, well. I guess I'll still take cover. This guy is open, so we should probably... Amazing. He still lived. Okay, so he somehow gets cover. Okay, this is at least armor piercing, so... Oh, God. Okay, double tap. Nice. Okay, Gobbet, he's actually standing on a ley line, so... I definitely want that. The question is, do I want to submachine gun him down? Yeah, I have to because I don't have any of these other options. I just don't think it's actually going to do enough damage. 2 attacks with less chance for critical damage may hit adjacent characters, use 8 bullets. It's a 58% chance to hit, really. Okay. Alright, well, I guess we focus him down then. Ractor again will go to control mode with Kashi. Although it looks like I'm dedicating everything on this unit now. Unbelievable. Alright. Only got interested. Oh, actually, I might be doing Pillars of Eternity on cast at some point. Username intensifies. If you like games like that, you'll definitely like Shadowrun. How is it possible I can't hit this? Oh, it's because I don't have my gun out. I think we take the aimed shot. Yeah, it's a token, but it's better than nothing. Say again, Patrol 3, we couldn't hear you. Thank God. Okay. I think we do the same story here. We do Acidic Fog. I don't think there's a way I can do this without... So I think Kashi's just going to have to take the damage. Now the nice thing here is we're on a dragon line, so this is actually going to be a little more effective than it normally would be. Unfortunately, I did use up my haste here, so... Or rather, I used up the traits that would... Or the action points that I would have used for haste otherwise. So instead, I'm just going to bump up somebody's aim, and I just need to decide whether Isabelle is the better candidate or 70. 71 already has a pretty good aim, so let's put Isabelle in because she's... Oh, hello! It affects multiple people. Nice. So... You know what? My usual habit is take pieces off the board, so let's focus on the guy with lighter armor. And then we'll do a critting shot. Or hang on. Yeah, the critting shot here. Alright, steady shot, increase accuracy by 30% and critical hit chance by a small amount. Bleeding's a good trait. I could use like a grenade, but that's a little overkill. Really? You're playing Civilization 6, T. Clark? How you doing, Onvar? Good to see you again. Alright, let me just catch up for a second here. Then you wanted to play more games like it, only to find out that this Baldur's Gate games were like... Yeah, I mean, Baldur's Gate I think was the one that originated it. At least that style. You might also like Wasteland 2. All awesome Icewind Dale games. Neverwinter Nights was another one in a similar vein. By the way, username Intensify, so if you, assuming you haven't already exhausted those options, a lot of those games are available on GOG, and usually at very good prices. So, I know that sounds hucksterish, but it is one of the reasons I actually really like that, that platform. Oh nice, so I'm immune to Acid Fog. So username Intensify, I've heard that the new Baldur's Gate expansion is not very good. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've not heard very good things about it, to be honest. And yeah, username Intensifies Torment Tides of Numenaria is actually a remake of Planescape Torment, which I picked up on GOG. Okay, as you creep down onto D-Deck, the ship is eerily quiet. The sound of the withering storm is muted to the low moans and wind and shuddering vibrations when lightning strikes. Collecting yourself, you listen carefully for any other sounds. Nothing. Your presence on the ship appears to be as yet unnoticed. Squeezing water out of the ropes of her hair, Gobbet nods in satisfaction. Nicely done. We're almost to the goods, and the rest of the ship's got no idea we're here. Fighting down here will definitely get their attention, though. Let's play it smart. We get the goods, radio our pickup, and get out. Exactly. Let's wrap up this job. Keep your eyes open, Seattle. We've gotten this far by being careful. No reason to change that now. I'd like to get home without any extra lead in my body. Sorry guys, just a quick second. So the best thing is if we get access to a computer and Isabelle can go in, because that normally gives us like a full view of everything. I mean, Mr. Friends, I can't tell you from direct experience, but I think one of the reasons why Civilization has remained such a good and viable series is that they've not fallen into that trap of saying, oh well, this was successful last time, so let's just repeat it. I think they make the right call in sort of saying it's like, okay, this is a new game. So a good example here, I think a very controversial change that they made to 5, but one that I think was absolutely the right call, was to say that only one military unit could occupy a space at a time. And I know everybody complained, oh, it changes my strategy completely. Well, that's the point, right? If you want Civilization 4, you play Civilization 4. And I think, I don't know about, to me, I was almost certain that people were going to be complaining about, the new city mechanics. Because for me, like, the way that I would play with cities would basically be the same way that people used to play with armies. Build everything indiscriminately inside of them. Again, there's, it's such a storied franchise. It's really hard to see somebody who isn't, on top of their game, so to speak, picking up the development job and doing a great job of it. And I mean, you can see the people who work on Civilization games usually go and make really good games on their own. So, for instance, Soren Johnson made Civilization 4, and since has gone on to found Mohawk Games and played that Offworld. Oh my God, why can I not remember the proper title? Offworld Trading Company. I wanted to say development company. It's a very, very well done game. Obviously, it doesn't have the Firaxis brand, and it doesn't have that built-in audience like Civilization does, but it's one that I really enjoy playing. And if you guys haven't checked it out, I really think you should. It's a very well done game. Yeah, I mean, Civilization, pretty much anything from Firaxis is more or less one that I buy sight unseen, and I kind of have to try it on my own. But I always sort of know it's going to be a different experience each time anyway. Oh, it's all good, Jesse Quill. Like, it's just me venting. You know how I am. Alright, this computer seems to be for monitoring and controlling ship systems, power routing, alarm systems, and bilge pumps. Like everything else on the Nelchi, it's an obsolete piece of junk that doesn't even have a VR interface, just a touchscreen and a keyboard. Hey, you know what? I bet we could screw with the guards down here using this computer. Draw them away from to a different deck or something. Investigate the power routing systems. The power routing system appears to be connected to some low-level ship functions, sewer control, HVAC, and backup battery control. It doesn't look like there's much that you can do with those. Investigate the alarm system. The alarm system doesn't seem connected to the actual security systems. It appears to be primarily a voltage and a short-out protection system that engages if the ship's power overload somewhere on the ship. If there's a power overload somewhere on the ship, a few tweaks and you could probably fake a voltage overload elsewhere on the ship. Alright. Ah, they know what I want to do. Alright. Well, just like a real run, you gotta roll with the punches. Fake an alarm. After a few adjustments, you set off an alarm system test alarm on C deck. It won't fool anyone for long, but they'll have to go to C deck to make sure it's not a real alarm. Oop. Somebody opened a door. The panel's door is hanging open, the wires inside sparking occasionally. It looks like someone was recently in the process of working on the cabling, but was called away. This might prove useful access to ship systems. Searching through the wires and cables, it looks like oh, sorry, we've already got this. So have Ractor rewire the cameras. Again, this is the whole point of bringing Ractor over these other people. Ractor rapidly begins rewiring the electronics panel, swapping plugs and wires across several boards. After a moment, the panel emits a soft beep. There we are. You should be receiving a camera feed on your comlink now. Alright, that is especially helpful. So basically I don't want to open this door. And it doesn't look like there's anything that I need in there. So. Sure. It's convenient because I have a gobbet fetish too. I mean, purely professional. I always like taking phosphorus grenades that I never use in combat. Pretty much everybody's got first aid kits. Oh, everybody doesn't have a Bumona though. I think I'll give it to 71. Okay, so these are good if I get into combat. Oh, hang on, I didn't take the item? I hope I took the other stuff. I also hope there isn't a timer on that alarm that I set. Okay, so the yellow diamonds are the objectives. I kind of want to finish the... So there's two reasons I want to finish the level. Ooh. Okay, they're looking the wrong way. One, I kind of want to explore the decks before I have to deal with the consequences of stealing stuff. This is a control panel for the ship's water pumps and fire suppression system. The knobs and switches here can cut off the supply of water to anywhere on the ship with an outlet. The readouts indicate that the fire suppression system doesn't have any safety locks engaged on it. By adjusting the pressure, you could flood the hallways leading to this deck, slowing any guards trying to reinforce the area. This would certainly set off a ship-wide alarm and draw every available guard to your position, however. Yeah, we're not doing that. Let's give Gobbet one. I don't normally like putting Gobbet in the middle of combat unless it's obvious she's going to take out the stuff that's threatening her. But it's probably not bad to have. Hey, an arcade. Alright, again, it's really tempting to see what's inside here because I don't think this is going to... I don't think this is actually going to show any items that I can get unless I actually walk in. But again, the cost of getting into a fight, especially at this time, is not worth it. So I'm gonna sneak around the corner. Nothing here. I'm going to avoid this place. Again, there are worse places I could go. It looks like this is available for a drone. And there is a chemical barrel as well as a spirit that I can summon. So, if anything, these two guys are toast if it comes down to it. But if we can avoid any combat, so much the better. Okay, test data computer. We'll start with that. Alright, Eastern Tiger File, OS221, Development Diary, Project Overview, Development Diary Phenotypic Alteration, and Development Diary Longevity Research. Please select File Data. Select File 1. Initial research into metagenetics presents a singular challenge, to wit, the study not of genes themselves, but of the interaction between genetics and in the unseen world of astral space. If the creation of a particular metatype or magically expressed phenotype was as simple as the recombination of given amino acid sequences, then the creation of mages would be as simple as the expression of a given eye color or skin tone. Unfortunately, such expressions are far more complex. The expression of traits previously considered to be supernatural is a complex interplay between mundane DNA, the condition of the ambient manosphere at the time of development, and the interactions between genes and what have been dubbed astral shadows. Any research into these is fraught with difficulty due to their resistance to traditional, that is to say technological, instruments. Ergo, Omega Sequences number 358G is a project decoupled from the usual safeguards against project overruns. We've been granted extensive magical assistance in our pursuit of higher metagenetic understanding, as well as autonomy from legal concerns. As such, Omega Sequence Project materials must be kept in the Eastern Tiger secure facilities only. Deviation from this may result in local law enforcement interest, and subsequent cleanup costs can be prohibitive. Phenotypic alteration is the key process which allows for the Omega Sequence Project to progress. Ordinarily, an organism's phenotype is set and cannot be changed after a very early point in development. Morphology, phenology, replication processes. Any alteration in the coding sequence of a living organism is invariably fatal, except in the case of the Omega sequence. A combination of alkalying agents, ambient mana control, and potent alpha emitters allow us to control the replication of the Omega sequence metagene. This is accomplished through the alteration of interactions between DNA and their astral shadows, the building blocks of metagenetics and mana-based abilities. To understand this concept, consider an Indonesian shadow play. The story one watches is not of the puppets, but of the shadows they cast. A skillful puppeteer manipulates not just the puppets, but the space between the screen and the viewer. So too is it with metagenetics. Magical aptitude, metagenetic traits, and formerly unknown parazoology are revealed when mana levels reach a sufficient point to allow the astral shadows of DNA to engage in their delicate, powerful dance of replication. To change the metagenetics of an organism, we do not manipulate only the subject's DNA, but the space between that DNA and the astral plane. We cast the requisite shadows, engendering change that cannot be explained solely by base pairs, alleles, and nucleotides. Control is our challenge. Control is a delicate art. It requires patience and perseverance, as well as a scientific acumen. But with a fine enough degree of control, we will be able to replicate magical abilities, trait expression, and the Black Swan effects. What are these Black Swan traits? Individuals born during events which cause ambient mana to spike have been known to express extreme magical potential and meta traits not possessed by the majority of their metatype. Research into Homo sapiens nobilis subjects born during the Awakening, for instance, indicate that ordinary elven longevity simply does not apply, and that there is no upper bound to their telemetric regeneration. Effectively, they appear to be immortal. Hey, Teleswin. I'm not really revisiting Hong Kong. We never actually finished it, so I'm just enjoying it. And by the way, I really regret not taking a biology class with that dialogue. The goal of the Omega Sequence Project is to harness and unlock these Black Swan meta traits, beginning with the question of the longevity factor in Homo sapiens nobilis. Treatments for extending human lifespans already exist, of course. Organ transplantation can extend life by up to 50 years, and leonization treatment can theoretically extend life for several hundred. Yet the drawbacks of these are apparent to any who scratch the surface. Leonization is prohibitively expensive and erodes the patient's essence with every treatment, leading to the eventual systemic collapse. Organ transplants can preserve the body, but plaques build up in the patient's neural tissue, and the patient must take a cornucopia of immunosuppressants for the duration of their life. Johnny Big Time, thank you very much for that, host, my friend. I'm just going to finish this dialogue and we'll be with you in a second. True longevity lies in preventing aging from occurring at all. Omega sequence number 358G represents our most advanced metagenetic phenotype yet. Preliminary results indicate that the test's clone age will lock at 19 years and progress no further. In order to test this, we have induced artificial aging of the clone through our fast-grow organ replacement process. Unfortunately, this led to an explosive cancer and mutation rate, rendering it non-viable for any other types of metagenetic research. Even so, the value of this test subject cannot be overstated. Whew! A lot of dialogue. How you doing, Totally 4? And the man himself, Johnny Big Time, is in here. So, my lovely mod is in the channel. God forbid I take her job. So, Jesse Quill, if I could ask for a big old shout out for Johnny Big Time there. He's a man definitely deserving of it. And I will take care of the dialogue job. So, guys, Johnny Big Time, absolutely a streamer worthy of your attention. Currently doing a horror series, and I actually have to risk the temptation to follow in his footsteps. By coincidence, largely, we both wound up doing Soma. And for those of you who got to watch the Soma playthrough, you know I loved that game. Exceptional story. Definitely anybody who said that it was not as good as Amnesia probably didn't play through to the end. Play it for yourself. Try it for yourself. Definitely a solid game with some really interesting ideas behind it. So I think it's a shame I didn't get a chance to see Johnny Big Time play it, but I really wanted to play it for myself, and I think it was the right call. And I hope I did that game as much justice as he did. So in addition to that, he's currently doing The Evil Within, which was actually sitting in my library for a very long time, and I probably took about 20 minutes of watching him play it, and I really wanted to play it myself. So I've installed it. I've got a little bit of time inside of it, and it's one I will do on cast, but I think it's only right that I let him finish through his playthrough. I mean, you guys have already come through. You guys have already kind of come through Johnny's channel and that. So the last thing I can, I mean, one, I can't compete with Johnny, and then number two, you know, I think it's kind of nice to have some variety. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing it myself, and I know I've been sort of remote from your cast for a little while anyway, Johnny, but I will actually say you're playing a lot of stuff I really want to play myself now. So I kind of go to get a little bit of a taste, and then I try to run away to, you know, to still keep some surprises for myself. You're on the 3rd DLC! Jesus Christ, dude! So what's up next? But yeah, I mean, so if you haven't figured it out already, Johnny Big Time is playing a lot of games that I really enjoy. He's got a fantastic personality, just a really good guy. I mean, I think a lot of people sort of will remember this over-the-top kind of shout-out that I gave for him, but I meant every word of it. And I think, again, I've got a lot of really great people supporting me. So I'm starting, I realize like I'm sounding like somebody who just says, you know, only nice things about everybody, and I appreciate that there's a certain culture in Twitch. Like, one of the reasons why I do these extended shoutouts for people, I've actually had a point, I was doing Stellaris before it came out, and I had about 100 or something people inside of it. It was like it was the biggest audience I've ever had, and I got a lot of people who are just like, just play the game, man, nobody cares about your opinions on things. Well, I fucking care. But there's definitely a certain culture of Twitch, which, other than the, you know, just get on with it, there is a tendency for people to get a little hyperbolic in their rhetoric. So, you know, it's not just enough to be a good streamer anymore. They have to be the best ever, right? So one of the reasons I do take my time on doing these shout-out... Yeah, actually, I mean, Johnny Victor, you've probably had my favorite reaction to a troll. It was like that one, I think the only guy you've banned in your channel. And I can't even remember what it was. It's like, you just straight up said you hated the guy, but you delivered it in such a deadpan way that I literally laughed out loud in front of my monitor. It was fantastic. But anyway, so one of the reasons why I kind of go into these slightly more in-depth shoutouts, one, because these are people I actually really think are worth your time. And I need to appreciate that part of my reputation is on the line when I do this, right? If I recommend to you somebody who's not worth the effort, you're not going to believe me anymore. And especially when somebody who's had a very, you know, profound effect on my life outside of cast, like Jessie Quill, that potentially, you know, discounts the value of a shout out I give to her. So definitely I consider my word to be a fairly, you know, precious thing I want to keep going. So there's that. I will say my track record of hosts has not always been very good, and I think a lot of people who've watched this channel for a while can attest to that. But in addition to sort of getting past the fact that it's not just enough to say that somebody's good anymore, I feel like I owe it to you guys to explain why I think this person is watching. Because the big thing for me is, you know, I know there's also a tendency now for people to follow as that show of solidarity, because that's free. And I'm going to be honest with you folks, these guys are worth more than just a free follow. I hope that you do actually go and visit them. As I've said before, the best thing that a caster can ask is for an opportunity to entertain you, right? There's people who come in and they don't like my stuff. And I mean, there's always going to be room for improvement for sure. But there's going to be a certain point where people just don't like casters without a cam. Or there's going to be a point where people don't like the fact that I take a while to get through games, or that I talk about some of the ideas behind it, right? It's not that my tastes are better, or it's not that their tastes are better, it's just, it's a mismatch, right? The best I can maybe hope is that lots of people get to try it and I find my audience. And so, you know, one part is passing it on, right? It'd be good if we can, it would be good if we could, you know, be mutually supportive. And I mean, I can remember the first time I saw Johnny Big Time's channel, I really had a good time. And I think in when I was a member of a team, I think he's actually the caster I put the most effort into trying to get people to watch. Because I really felt it was unfair, the sort of lack of attention that he was receiving. I hope that's changed. I'm happy to see that his channel's growing naturally, whether or not it's part of the team, but he really is, like, when I think about the amount of time that I've spent, like, trying to play him up to people, I think that really is a reflection of the amount of just pure fun that I have watching him play games. And again, there's a lot of things that I can say. You know, I talk about Kite's kindness, and I talk about Jessie Quill's. I talk about a lot about Jessie Quill, about her personality, about her intellect, her empathy. But it's really hard. It sometimes makes me feel like I do Johnny a disservice when I shout him out, because it's just a big ball of fun. He could cast for 2 hours, he could cast for 6 hours, and yet it's just, you know, wall-to-wall entertainment. It's just, again, just the commentary he gives, the games that he plays. It's hard to say anything other than the fact that Johnny Big Time is fun. And honestly, what else do you guys need? So if you haven't hit that follow button already, I don't know what else I'm going to do, but you're definitely hurting yourself if you haven't checked out his channel, so. Auto hosts have forced people to support you? Jesus Christ, dude. You deserve much better. I mean, I love auto host because it allows me to do things like host Tuesday Gray, because she tends to cast at a time that I'm at work. But yeah, Johnny Big Time is an outstanding guy. So no, somebody in chat did it, Jessie Quill, but I appreciate it. It means more when you do it. All right. Downloading the data. You download the data, wiping all traces of it off the computer. Alright, second objective. The cold storage tank and attendant machinery are lit from within the organic soup by flickering baleful lights. The tank containing Omega sequence number 358G chugs quietly with a hum of pumps and coolant. As you look at the tank, the fluid shifts up, and there is a soft thump against the mass of organic matter. A soft thump as a mass of organic matter drifts up against the glass. A pale, lidless eye stares at you from within the tank. The face it resides in is a ruined mass of tumors and scabrous pustulence, a mutated mass of teeth and indeterminate growths dominating what should be the nose and mouth region. As you look, it fixes a lone eye upon you, the pupil flickering back and forth as it tracks your motions. Gobbet gasps and quickly slaps a palm against the tank. She peers at it intently for a few seconds, and a deep shudder rolls through her body. She turns to you, her voice barely a whisper. 71, this thing is alive. I don't think it's intelligent, but it's definitely living, despite being mostly made of cancer and disease. We need to shut its life support system down, Gobbet. Nothing deserves to live in this condition. Gobbet glances at the creature, putting one hand to her mouth to stifle a retch. Gobbet leans closer to the tank, still whispering. Only a few more minutes, monster. You'll be at peace soon. Eastern Tiger Cool Core Pro version 226. Please input command. Take samples and turn off power. After a few moments of worrying, a small drawer opens to present you with a rack of vials. Each one contains a scrap of tissue. You power down the machinery, the lights in the vat dim, and the creature slowly closes its single eye. As the last hum of power fades, the creature drifts away from the glass. Alright, so my job is to escape. I'm gonna guess that there's gonna be an alarm that comes off, but... With the data and tissue samples secured, you are ready to make your exit from the Nelchi. Pulling your comlink, you dial Captain Jomo. The Malaysian orc's face springs to life on your comlink, his tusky maw spread with a grin. Jomo is listening. You ready for a pickup, my friend? We're standing by and have eyes on the ship. Come get us. We're done here. Easy, La. We'll be there in a few minutes. Be ready right where we dropped you off, friend. With that, Jomo disconnects the call. In a few minutes, the only thing between you and Hong Kong will be the open ocean. Oh, Jesus. I don't know what that dialogue before was, but Tigeth right. The elf on the screen has the bearing... So I'm assuming this says something like my comlink turns on. The elf on the screen is the bearing of someone with no time for pleasantries. His tone is flat when he speaks. This is Taiga. Is the task done? Oh, I dialed up my contact. We're done here. We can release the data at a time and site of your choosing. That was swiftly done. Fortunately, there's been a complication. I can't transfer you your payment until we meet in person. I've had a tail on me since I arranged the run with Kindly Cheng. I think the Solpas have caught up with me and are watching to see what I'm up to. I can shake the tail, but I need to ensure my safety before this is done with. I can help with that, but it'll cost you. Taiga grimaces, but nods his head in agreement after a few seconds. I'll pay whatever it takes to get them off my back. If I can't, my family's still dead. I have a safe out in Ho Chung Village that I set up before landing here. Meet me there. Call me when you're close and I'll shake the tail. As long as we get it handled in a hurry, I should be clear to get out of Hong Kong. My rates just went up, significantly. We can discuss whatever extra payment you think is fair once we meet in person. You disconnect the call and pocket your comlink. Things just got a whole lot more complicated. Well, you know, Jesse, well, speaking of fragile egos, obviously people are extremely kind in my ability to read stuff, but I just had a bunch of biology terms that I had to read through the game. It was a little rough going, I think chat can tell you. I don't like this one bit, 71. Last minute plan changes are the fastest way to get killed, especially if somebody bloodthirsty like the Supa rings are involved. This whole thing stinks. Sure does, but how else are we going to get paid? Listen, just keep your eyes open and be ready for anything. I want to come home in one piece, okay? As you start to move away from the Omega sequence cargo, you realize your comlink is buzzing with an incoming call. Pulling it back out of your pocket, you answer. The caller's expression is pleasant, but there's a level of unspoken menace in his eyes, the glint of a killer. Good evening, 71. My name is Huang Jiamin, and I represent the Blue Haven Solpa ring. I've just become aware that you are in possession of data and tissue samples from Project Omega Sequence 358G. I would like those samples, and I am willing to pay you for them. So this is interesting. I mean, not only here, the game has really been pushing this idea of loyalty and respect. So there's actually two things going on here. It's one, my reputation as a runner, and two, my reputation with Kindly Cheng. Well, I already know who he is. Alright, I'm not in the habit of backing out of a deal. Nor would I expect you to be, given your exceptionally swift rise in the shadow community of Hong Kong. Understand what I am asking of you. I understand what I am asking of you. Understand what I am asking of you. I do not do lightly. But I am privy to information that you are not, and I think I could be of some use to you. Please, do me the honor of hearing me out. I understand that you are an associate of Kindly Cheng's. My own organization is far too trivial to have attracted her notice, but I believe you can help me change that. Merely doing business with you will increase our standing a great deal, and since I have information that may save your life, perhaps we can come to an arrangement. Cut the flattery and tell me what you know. The Blue Haven ring has been retained by Eastern Tiger in order to prevent the theft of the Omega sequence data and samples, the very things that you have just taken. Your employer, whose full name is Taiga Wright, has been attempting to acquire them for some time. The entire reason the data and samples are being shipped to Seoul is because of a botched Shadowrun, one on the Eastern Tiger facility in Tacoma where the project was being developed. Taiga Wright was the Johnson for that run. Your employer is not who he says he is, nor are his motives pure. He was never employed by the Eastern Tiger, and he has no family in Seoul. As near as I have been able to determine, he's an agent of the Tir Tingarine Information Secretariat. A spy, if you will. So why does he want the data? I'm not certain, but I suspect that the Council of Princes has an interest in suppressing research into elven longevity. Every scientist working on the question of potential elven immortality has been disgraced or disappeared, except for those employed by the Eastern Tiger. I suspect that the elves have secrets they'd rather not have the rest of the world know. Wrights attempted to intercept Eastern Tiger's cargo at the very point it's landed at. The strike in Tacoma was only the first. There was a second attempt in Perth, and a third near the Riau Islands, against the very ship that you're now on. Don't think for a moment that Wright will hesitate to kill you as soon as you hand the data over to him. So what do you say? I pay you for the data you have, and both of us can eliminate Wright and whatever hired guns he's brought along. I think this is a fair arrangement. Say, I don't believe you, these experiments are horrible, although I think it's actually quite credible that this is what's happening. So it's like, if Wright double crosses me, I'll kill him myself. No deal. Huang's expression darkens and his tone grows cold. I'd hoped we'd been able to come to an agreement, but if you refuse to see reason, bullets may prove a more effective argument. No one crosses the Blue Heaven ring and lives. Sorry, Heaven ring and lives. Your death will be an object lesson in that. Well, I think you made a new friend, 71. And I think he's unwittingly just gotten in far over his head. Our rep speaks for itself. Let's get back to Hong Kong. Have a good night, Tempo Frost. It's great to have you in here. And have a very good... have a good sleep. And for those of you... I actually noticed that the audience is thinning out a little bit. So for those of you who need to go to bed, I understand. I'm going to try and do more than one run if I can. But I did get a later start tonight, so... Alright. You put your comlink away and check the time. Captain Jomo should be arriving any minute. Time to head back to Hong Kong and what awaits. Looks like I don't need to worry about these guys. Sorry about that dialogue, by the way. It's a little rough. I'm out of practice, man. Oh my. Oh. Actually, I will say I'll take advantage of the multiple hosts tonight. For those of you who are interested in the cast, obviously following is the best way if you want to see me go live with stuff again. I don't just do Shadowrun, I do a variety of games. But if you're interested in knowing what I'm going to be playing, or if you're interested in, when I go live or anything along those lines, you can follow me on Twitter. I know the bot just put up an alert, but that's one of the ways that if you want a little bit more detail in terms of what's happening or when I'll be streaming, because I know my schedule isn't quite cemented yet. I've more or less figured out how I'm doing things, but I'm still not exactly in shape yet. Twitter is one of the better ways to sort of know a little bit more detail about what's going on. By the way, we're being hosted by 5 people tonight. Right. The boat ride back to Hong Kong is tense. Even Captain Jomo's jovial nature does little to lighten the mood. The deep storm whirls in the sky behind you, and although you've accomplished your mission, you wonder what's in store once you reach Ho Chung village. And what will be waiting you in Ho Chung? Who will betray whom? And most importantly, how can you survive the night and still get paid? You're certain these mysteries will be revealed, but how you'll learn these answers could be deadly. But yeah, so the people who are hosting us tonight: Famicom, Jesse Quill, Mr. Franz, Alex the Rambler, and Johnny Big Time. That was all 5, right? Johnny Big Time, Jesse Quill, Mr. Franz, Famicom, and the Rambler. The Ho Chung MTR station is a testament to high-class design left to rot over a period of 15 years. Smelling of stale urine and mold, this stop has seen better days. With any luck, you'll be able to wrap up the job and leave Ho Chung before the sun's fully up. I have to admit a bad feeling about this 71. As much as I hate to admit it... Sorry, I have a bad feeling about the 71. As much as I hate to admit it, Huang was making a lot of sense when he was talking about the Tigeth. Sorry, talking about Tigath. Why change the venue at the last minute? This stinks, and it stinks more because I know Huang's gonna hit us tonight. We'll have to play it by ear. Too many unknowns. I hate unknowns. Unknowns got Nightjar and Gunshot killed. Carter too, if you haven't forgotten. I'm not gonna let that happen again. We should take it slow in Ho Chung. Look around. Get a sense of the place. Otherwise, we may walk blindly into the hornet's nest. Sorry, just taking a second. He is. Apparently I got a lot of practice during Mother Russia Bleeds, Johnny Big Time. I'm glad that you can detect it's at least Slavic. I'm not going to say it's good, but it's Slavic at least. I know there's a favorite voice of mine in this that you have. I actually visited that guy and he had an interesting little scene. But I don't know if I do the voice the exact same way that you remember it, so we'll see. There's usually new dialogue once a mission's done, so. For those of you who didn't know, I actually just got to see Jessie Quill type that privately as well as in public. As far as the other stuff that she's writing in private, well, this is an 18+ stream, right? The street vendor is hawking obviously cheap junk he probably brought in bulk from an outlet. Charms and trinkets and small toys litter his stall. He waves his arms excitingly, drawing you over. Hey, friend! Come look at my wares! Many fine souvenirs for you. How about some information instead? The vendor eyes you warily, picking a few bits of stray food from his beard. Maybe I can help you? How about you help me, huh? Here's some money. What have you seen? The vendor greedily snatches the cred stick from your palm, turning it over and caressing it like a raccoon with a shiny coin. Yes, good. Thank you very much, my friend. There were some mercenaries moving through here earlier. Big guns, nasty expressions. I think they were from outside Hong Kong. I didn't understand the words that they were saying. I didn't see how many there were. Less than 10, but enough to be a crowd. The junk vendor goes back to organizing his shop, nodding your direction. Anyone starts shooting? Keep it away from my stall, eh? I don't want any trouble. I mean, I'm not going to complain about the way that Jessie Quill's, trying to say that a man is worth the sweat of his brow. But for those of you who want an idea of the content of private messages to and from Jessie Quill, I think I'm just going to start reading chat a little bit closer to the mic. Starting with Jessie Quill saying, "Oh, damn it. I'm so sorry I missed it." And Mr. Friend saying, "It's far better than my Russian accent." Johnny Big Time emoted, "Oh, behave." Jessie Quill says, "Tip, if you want to see my private musings to chalk, https://twitch.streamlabs.com/systemchalk." Jessie Quill says, "Oh God." Johnny Big Time says, "Don't boo us. Don't you dare boo us. I swear to God. And the U says, "You what, mate?" Jessie Quill says, "Jess is the most gorgeous girl I've ever had the pleasure of gazing upon." Well, I would have said that already, Jessie Quill. This is an LTG Access jack, used for maintenance and diagnostics. A decker could use this to check recent traffic cameras, adjust grid guide and power flow, and manipulate basic utilities in the local area. Johnny Big Time says, "God damn it." Jessie Quill says, "God damn it." Kite 260 says, Johnny Big Time says, "Oh, oh, 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 oh." Jessie Quill says, "You're great." And my neighbor says, "Hey, cut that racket out. It's like 11 o'clock, man." Have Isabel jack in. Ooh, I get to show you guys the Matrix. So, for those of you who've played the earlier Shadowrun games, this is going to be entirely different. There's actually... The thing that's neat about this one is there's a little bit of a... No, not the one with Keanu Reeves. But yeah, so this has a real-time element to it now, so you kind of want to run around and dodge the ice. Oh, like I failed to do. And basically there's a trace that moves up whenever you fail something like that. So that was actually, that was really bad of me. That's a lot of... It's a lot of power, actually. Let's see how much damage I do. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I... So this is interesting. It's actually only the one that sees me. Unfortunately, it puts a lot of hurt on. So let's not get caught ever again. Okay? That's the rule, chat. We can't get caught by the ice. Oh, you done fucked up, Isabel. How do I deal with this? Okay, so let's see what these things... I don't think you can see behind that pillar. Yeah, okay, so that's one. Okay, so when they're heading down... Yeah, I'm traced. Get out of it! Oh my. Me love you long time? God, I suck at this. Alright. Hey, Jeff, how's it going? The smart thing for it to do would actually be to go in front of me. Oh, but... What other things did you have in mind, Jessie Quill? Okay, let's see if I can just jump straight back in. There's gotta be a way that I can lower the detection up. Oh, nope, nope. Oh, hang on. So this is... Okay, I am going to scum this. It's a little bit of both, Jeff. The Matrix is actually something that's not turn-based. Well, it's turn-based when you get to combat, but the parts leading up to it are... Hey, thank you very much for that host, Jeff, and the two folks from Jeff's stream. Sorry, Jeff. Or should I say it differently? Should I say it more like Jeff? You played some turn-based shooting game at Indiecade and your RTS instincts kicked in. Yeah, that was a fail. All right. So if I do get a trace on me, I actually have a means of fixing it. But we're not going to get a trace on me, so... Yeah, that's how you do the Matrix. Oh, that's a bad call. So again, like I said, this is a slightly more interesting way of doing the Matrix because you actually need to think a little bit on your feet. And this is another thing that's makes it interesting. So there's a little mini game for the hack blocker, which is kind of fun. I actually don't remember how to do it that well, so we'll see if this madness works out. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty good ice. So okay. Ah! You know what, not worth it. Let's just go next. Alright. Think it might be this one. Are you and your men ready yet? I have a timetable to keep. Don't rush me. You hauled my team halfway across the world for this little adventure of yours, and we've just gotten off the plane. The contract says we'll be ready in 0300 hours, and we will. In the meantime, get the hell off my back. To Twitch, Mr. Friends. Tagath's expression is one of barely restrained anger. His hands ball up into fists. You'd better be, you little toad. It was a matter of national security for Tir Tingarine, and given what you're billing me, I expect nothing but perfection. The mercenary commander is utterly unimpressed with Tagath's impotent rage. Spare me. That kind of line might work on rank-and-file troops. This is my first day on the job. Without my troops, you're stuck hiring local scrubs with zip guns. As it is, I'm only here because my boss likes your brother. When you say the base game, Jeff, are you talking about Shadowrun Returns? So the way that it works out, you've got Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, and Shadowrun Hong Kong. Now, both Dragonfall and Hong Kong got sort of extended editions, but those were given out for free. But they are 3 standalone titles. Okay, so Returns is a good game, but if you only play one, I definitely suggest Dragonfall. Hong Kong is probably the most developed out of all of them, because the Matrix is totally different from all the other ones. But I would say probably what you want to do is you want to play Dragonfall so you can appreciate the story, and then you get the extra mechanics with Hong Kong. DF's eyes narrow to razored slits, and then he jabs a finger towards the mercenary. Just be ready, mercenary. I've paid you for your time and for the duration of this mission. I expect your loyalty as well. I'll do my job, right? That's what you're paying me for. You do yours. I want to get out of this forsaken pit and catch the next flight back home. So we're not getting paid, huh? Okay, so I believe if these things move up, I get caught. Unless this pillar blocks it. Okay, nope, I can get away with it, so. Are you kidding me? I thought that was blocked. Okay. So I really have to hope that I nail this all 3 times. Nope. Oh, this is gonna get ugly really fast. Okay. Oh god, this is gonna be tight. Can I not use my... There's gotta be some way that I can use my sort of D-tracer. Because I think I'm gonna keep this trace if I still go... If I like log out and log back in. Oh god, what did I say, Jessica? Alright. I think I'm just gonna run for... I don't think there's something at the end of this, to be honest, but... Let's go for it. You only YOLO once, as we say on this stream. Yep. Yep, this is a complete waste of time. Are you fucking kidding me? I don't even think that's an innuendo, Jeff. Jess wouldn't allow me to put it in innuendo, but I know what you're saying. The powerful troll watches you impassively as you approach, her expression unchanging. You look like the kind of person who might be interested in some hardware. You got a need? I can give you a solution. You game? How about some information? Anybody strange hanging around tonight? God damn it, why do we... The troll eyes you impassively, taking a long time to ponder before speaking. 250 nuyen, and I'll tell you everything I know. Yeah, why not? The Venger's pockets the cred stick without even looking at it. Much obliged. Saw some tsunami mercenaries arming up further down the canal. Drove right by them as they were strapping on armor and checking their guns. They didn't look particularly happy to be there, but I don't blame them. This is Combat Inc.'s backyard, and they wouldn't be welcome here. You got business with them? Keep it away from my van. Isabel's face goes ashen when she hears the troll's words. Those are some heavy hitters. They've got big ticket mercenary company out in Okinawa. They've got tanks, aircraft, a Matrix division, you name it. If you want them, you have to pay top dollar. The troll shrugs. I don't know what they're doing out in Ho Chung, and I don't really care as long as I don't get shot at. Looked like a protection detail, though. I didn't catch how many there were, but there was less than 10. They're well geared, and they didn't look like they had anything heavier than rifles or a grenade launcher. Show me what you have. I don't think we can afford the gun that I want anyway. See, I don't want the sniper rifle, and it's the HK that I want. Yeah, I can get better at the bar. Nope. That's all for now. Mach schnell! Or possibly, my Schnitzel! Which is another thing I screamed when Jesse Quill was around. Alright, let's not go to the goal, because one, I like giving you dialogue, and two, because I don't actually want to deal with the consequences of engaging my Johnson. Which makes complete sense in Shadowrun dialogue, but I realize probably sounded like another innuendo. The Schnitzel, not Bratwurst. Power cabling here is deeply frayed, threatening to arc into the puddles of the water below. Okay, so I just need him to I just need him to walk into the electricity. That should be easy. Hello, Street Doc. How much money do you want to tell me what I already know? Street vendor is hawking both traditional Chinese medical supplies and modern trauma kits alike. Feeling down? Ginkgo biloba in bulk. Got a cut? Doc Wagon first aid kit. Plenty of disinfectants. Like some information, actually. Oh yeah? What you want to know? I see a lot from my stall. See anyone strange lurking around here? Yeah, I saw this gangster type move through here. A real nasty looker, you know? He had his crew trailing along behind him. They were all speaking Korean, too. That's why I thought it was strange. I don't speak much Korean, but I know around here the triads rule the roost. Alright, have a good one, Johnny Big Time. I'm probably going to be heading that way myself, so you're not going to miss too much. But a pleasure as always, and everybody from Johnny Big Time's channel who stayed around, you are the true champions. Actually, no, Johnny Big Time's way better than all of you, but I still really appreciate you guys hanging out nonetheless. So have a good one, Johnny. I hope to get a chance to catch one of your casts sooner rather than later. But it's always really great having you around the channel, so have a good one. I don't think I'm going to buy anything. It'd be kind of cool to get a Bumona for the remaining team members, but I really need to save the money so I can get stuff. Okay, so I mean, the game has told me this Johnson intends to betray me. I just don't know what to do about that knowledge. There's another creature I can summon. That or it's possible. So it's either ley lines or spirits. I'm pretty sure these sparkles are ley lines. And the blue is the summon. But either way, it looks like it's equipped. I mean, it looks like it's kind of equipped us two ways. So we've got, in theory, we've got the ability to close off these two lines with electricity, and we've got a place that I can put Gobbet. So I'm actually going to engage from this direction because it's a little easier for Gobbet to get into this area. Tygath fidgets nervously as you approach him. His entire body is tense, and his eyes flick rapidly around the market, as if searching for unseen threats. As he notices you, he relaxes somewhat, but only a small amount. Well, thank God you're here. I'm at my wit's end. I could swear that I'm being watched everywhere that I go. He continues to glance nervously around. I don't like being out here. It's too exposed. In the distance, a police siren wails. Tygath's hand dives under his jacket, but as the wailing recedes, he relaxes again. Listen, did you bring the stuff? The faster I can get that stuff and leave Hong Kong, the safer I'll be. Ractor curls his lips up in disgust. Sir, keep your hands in the open. Shaking as badly as you are, you'll only embarrass yourself if you try to shoot something. Leave the violence to the professionals. Tygath stops fidgeting, takes a breath and nods. Okay, I'm calm. Can we just get this over with? Got a call from the Solpaws that are tailing you. Tygath's eyes bulge in shock. What? How do they know to call you? Your comlink's been hacked. They've been tracking your movements. Tygath swears under his breath, wiping a hand over his damp forehead. Shit, what? That must be how the Solpaws have been staying on me the whole time. That's not my problem. Payment is. Right, obviously. The Alfred gestures at you impatiently. We'll hand over the data and samples and you can get paid. Then we can all go home safely. Ractor fixes Tygath with a suspicious glare. Not just yet. None of this makes any logical sense, you realize. What about your family? Publishing the data? Your concerns have changed to a remarkable degree. Tygath fidgets nervously, regarding you with suspicious. What do you mean by that? It means we know you're from Tir Tingarine, you son of a bitch. And we know that you've been trying to get this shit since Tacoma. What? A bunch of crazy psychopaths spin a story about me and you're gonna believe them? Your story doesn't add up, Tygath. You're lying to me. The elf's expression abruptly changes. His fear washes away, abruptly replaced by cold professionalism. His fidgeting ceases almost instantaneously. I see. Well, now that the cat's out of the bag, I need to figure out what to do about this snarl. Gobbet has an evil glint in her eye as she leans towards Tygath. No sudden moves. I'm feeling awfully nervous. You move too quickly, accidents can happen. Don't be melodramatic. I'd rather avoid bloodshed if it can be helped. If you're amenable, this deal can proceed as planned. You're gonna answer some questions first. I suppose I can indulge you. You've worked out as rather good hires so far. What's Tir... sorry, I gotta get this right. Tyregines. Sorry. T-A-I-R. Tairngir. What is Tir Tairngir's interest in Eastern Tiger? Frankly, nothing. Zero. Eastern Tiger just happened to be the company researching into things that it shouldn't be. My orders are to terminate that research. Tell me about Omega Sequence number 358G. Research into elven metagenetics, abhorrent stuff, deliberately mutating elven genes in an effort to take the best qualities and imprint them onto other metatypes. Ridiculously, they seem to think that they'd be able to unlock the secrets of immortality. Seems crazy. Yes, rather. Plenty of advances into so-called immortality are already being made. Gene therapy, leonization, even magical treatments. Eastern Tiger's method just happens to be cheaper and more horrible. What do you intend to do about the Solpaws? I don't intend to do anything about them. I intend to leave this horrible little island. The question is, what do you intend to do about them? You live here, after all. Before you can answer, a shout rings out. Yeah, what are you gonna do about me? You think I'm just gonna let you hand this off without a fight? No, that's not happening. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna let you walk out of here alive. I'll pay you for the data and let you live. Not the elf, though. He dies. I have been a bit of I've been kind of sassy before, but it's like, don't you get the hint? I'm not interested in your pitch. I'm Huang Jae-min. I command the Blue Heaven Ring. Huang squares his shoulders, pulling his submachine gun out to bear on you. I'm not about to let some 2-bit Shadowrunner scorn me like you did. I'll make you one final offer. You give me the data and the samples, help me kill this elf. In exchange, I let you walk out of here alive. As you're distracted, Tygath puts one hand to his ear and utters a single sentence. Move in and secure the area. There's a sudden sound of running, boots on concrete. In the split second, you glance over the elf's shoulder. He's in motion. Alright, do I have to kill everybody now? Magical energy begins to arc around Wright's hands. What now, then? It seems we're at an impasse. I'm not about to go back to Portland empty-handed. I'm finishing the job. To hell with the soul pass. A thin smile spreads over Tygath's face, and he nods in satisfaction. Good. You made the right choice. Let's have this done, then. I don't really want to be fighting two groups of people, and furthermore, I actually think he's in the right on this, so... So again, I want to be in cover, and I would like to use as few moves as possible to do that. So this is the better cover. And I would normally go for the security drone because it doesn't have cover, but I... I don't think I can save in combat like this. Yeah. Okay, well, I kind of screwed this up. Well, let's see if I can actually get somebody else to do... Ooh, that's really tempting. As is that. Okay, we're actually going to get Isabel to do this. So let's start her off on the Sparkling Mars. That did nothing. That really, really sucks. Alright, we'll make the best of this situation. Gobbet goes on the ley line. I think we gotta give 71... Oh, actually I should have summoned something and then give... Okay, well, 71 gets the haste. Raptor will... The best thing that could be done in this game actually is adding an undo option. Koshai goes into control mode. I gotta get Raptor into cover. It's actually kind of tempting to move him up a little bit just so he... Yeah, he's going to run a little bit of cover for Gobbet. And let's go for somebody... It's all like 40% chances to hit. Yeah, we'll go for the leader. Actually, I should have gone for somebody a little weaker. Alright. Same deal with Koshai. Again, the ideal here is... taking pieces off the board, so I think we're just going to focus him down. Well... Headshot. Now the real question is, I can take my 2 shots, but it's actually possible that I can kill him too. Not quite enough. Ooh, that sucks. Oh, but it looks like we actually get a free turn, so not so bad. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wait a little bit. I'm going to move Isabel, and in this case we're going to go to the utility grid, and this is probably going to be what we can activate the electricity with. To move first. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the people who are not close to the water, because I really have a feeling that I'm going to be able to do something with that. And the rigger's really weak, so that's actually 2 pieces I take out if I I successfully take him down. I think this is actually going to be worth an overcharge from Raktor. So not quite enough to finish the job in one, but again, as you can see, we took out the rigger as well as their drone, and now this guy's engaged in single combat. So as a sniper, that's not an ideal position for them to be in. I'm still leaving 71 because, again, he's one of my better combatants. So I kind of want to keep my options open with him. But Raktor's going to stay in position here, so let's see what he can do with his pistol. I think probably not a bad idea to do an aimed shot. And the question is, do I want to try it on the rigger again? Or it looks like one of them... Okay, so I think it's the rigger who's standing. Well, doesn't matter, so... Alright, I'm going to get Gobbet to give me a bit of a hand here, so I'm going to start sending this for it. And again, she'll get into position. Not an ideal position for her to be in by any means, but it's sort of what we have. Now, I'm really going to be abusing the spirit here by how many moves do they have? 4. Basically, I'm going to be putting them into a position where they get damaged by the enemy or they get electrocuted. But again, this is not a member of my party, so I don't need to worry so much about their well-being. So, I can strip armor, or I can water bolt 2. That also strips armor. Well, you know what? I might as well make the most of that. So let's Jesus. All right. Well, I don't want to just do a straight up strip armor. So let's just throw something at the rigger. Okay. What do I want 71 to do? Grenade? Nope, don't have the ability. So I could potentially, I could actually potentially move up with this. But my aim's actually really good, so I think maybe I should just, I think I'm just gonna open fire. Jesus Christ. Baya kicks ass. Okay, do I want to do a Deadeye shot or not? Sniper's likely going to be staying in position, so let's blow our Deadeye shot on this one. Only 9 damage, but not terrible. I don't even need these security guys. Oops. Okay, looks like my water... Ouch. But it's only action points, so that's not so bad. Ooh. Gotta be careful about that. I don't think there's any cover I can take, so let's just do one move, and let's just throw everything we can at the gate. I don't think this is one that I can win by trading blows with, but hopefully my aim will carry the day. Cool. Yeah, not quite enough. But that's fine because we're gonna get her out of the matrix and onto into combat. All right, I think the right call here. So I either want to, I either need to take out the sniper, who is close, or I'm in my better position with the enforcer here as well. Still, somebody who's out in the open is hard to pass. Well, okay. Let's start with a strip armor. So I'm actually kind of interested if I... Well, actually, okay, they're already out, so let's just... Good lord. Useless! Right, so Kashai. I think we still go for the... just raw damage. I think I'm gonna keep 71 as my outside option, and Isabel is already in cover, but doesn't have a lot of really good options here, so let's do the steady shot. I think the Soul Pass Soldier's in probably the better spot for causing damage to people who I like, so, and they're also out of cover, so let's just make the most of what we've got. 54% is not a good one, so we'll aim. Nice. And I think true to form, we, again, take a piece off the board, so... and I can empty a clip. Oh, not enough ammo for that though, so we'll do a burst fire. Is Gambit? Oh, Gambit lost 2. I think probably what I'll do then is I'm just going to get Kashai to run straight up against the sniper. Alright, and yeah, the electricity basically counts for nothing. Alright, now I think Raktor took some damage there. No, he didn't. Okay. So, I guess I need to reload. But it's only one, I mean, it's only one action, so... Alright, so the sniper... I mean... it is what it is. Not much I can do about that. So we'll move up to really the only cover available. Isabel, I think, is in a similar position. I mean, she does have 3 moves. And can... okay, can't get into... oh, sort of can get in cover. I probably should have seen what Kashai can do before I tried that. Again, just like XCOM, cover is important, so let's get Kashai to cause some grief on our sniper friend. For those of you not familiar with the story of this game, Kashai is Raktor's rational brain, sort of... or was it... or maybe it was his primal brain. Anyways, it was part of Raktor's brain is in the body of this bot. Ooh, that's not good. I really wish it would have told me that it was moving him. Can I get away with acidic fog? Not a chance. Okay. I think we'll drop another haste, and... yeah, we'll give it to 71 again. I mean, I'll move up, but I don't think it's going to matter anything. I don't think it's going to matter at all. Well, he doesn't need more aim, so we'll get it to Isabel. Leave my drone alone. Screw it. Not enough ape. What are you talking about? You're killing me, Kashai. Reactor, can you do anything about this? I'm thinking no. Nope. You're useless to me. Isabel, now is your chance to shine. I'm gonna double tap. There we go. Tayath pulls out a handkerchief, wiping off his hands. Good riddance. What an awful little man. Turning toward you, the elf inclines his head. Shall we finish this then? You give me the goods, and I'll write you your fee when I'm away safely. I mean, I don't like the write your fee when I'm away safely, but sure, here you go. I don't want to kill him either, otherwise. Tygath takes the samples and data from you, nodding in satisfaction. A pleasure, 71. I'll be certain to recommend you to anyone who asks for reliable freelancers. Good evening. Oop. Made a loot. Wild one. It's SMG, 11 damage, medium range, 28 capacity, AoE 6. Compared to... Ugh! Gross. I wish it would give me the stats on Gobbets. Requires range combat 5. Alright, to the stash. You wish your freelancing was this exciting? For those of you who don't know, guys, Jessie Quill is a... Well, I did say it in part of her shout-out, but she is a manager of influencers and content creators. She is unique. I think one of the things that's a little concerning about it, so if you look at the surface of this job that she does, I know as soon as I go into the MTR, I'm going to have... Oh, wait, no, it's probably going to give me some dialogue to read. So the thing that's a problem, and the reason why I think that market may become a little saturated, is that if you look at it at face value, pretty much anybody thinks that they can do that job. It's just like, yeah, whatever, you know, I give games to streamers. How hard can that be? Well, there's two things that are difficult. One, you need to build the relationships, because not any streamer will do, right? I've got a friend, he casts Dota 2. You have to go for another long shift tomorrow. You have 2 more days till people come back from military leave and you get some rest. Have a good one, Kite. I'm probably going to be wrapping up pretty soon myself because I have training to do tomorrow, and I also have a pretty big assignment that's due. And I'm fairly certain I'll have it done, but until I actually have until I have the data like in the can and ready to be worked on, I'm not going to congratulate myself yet. But yeah, so the big thing with Jess and the job that she does, a lot of people, so like number one, not all streamers are made equally. So I've got a friend who I have co-casted Dota 2 tournaments with in the past, but they stream very infrequently and their audience is relatively small, even compared to me. So, you know, that's really not good enough. Whereas, you know, somebody like Total Biscuit, or, I mean, even somebody like Alaskan Savage, who maybe by YouTube standards isn't that big, but, you know, I think commands something of a respectable audience, is, again, somebody who, if just a random person says, hey, I've got a game for you, this is very likely somebody who's going to be like, yes, and so do many other developers. Why should I care about yours? Some people will want money. Some people will, you know, want to play a game that they enjoy. There's a lot. And I mean, more importantly too, right? Developers are going to want... They're probably going to want good coverage, but if nothing else, they're going to want fair coverage. So if I play a game and I just crap on it the whole time, you know, independent of whether or not it's actually a good game or not, you know, I think a developer would be justifiably annoyed to find out that I was given that key. So for instance, you know, I like more or less all sorts of games. But let's say, you know, something that's trying to play, like, I like adventure games, but let's say an adventure game that's just trying to recapture some of the old glory days of, like, the, you know, the 90s adventure games, and not really adding their own kind of spin on it. I'm probably not going to enjoy too much. I'd say it takes a little bit more to get me to get into a casual style game. Like, I don't play Candy Crush Saga, and it would probably take a little bit of effort for me to get into something like that, right? There are definitely some games that I can't cover very well. Now, again, there is a certain finesse to that. You sort of need to understand what works well. And the thing that works really well with Jess is that she has the ability to sort of identify a caster. And even if it's not like, so I mean, most people are going to say, oh, a grand strategy came out. Hey, System Chalk, have you played this? You'd probably really enjoy it. I'm not unique in that, by the way. There's a lot of casters who hear a lot from people, oh, you'd really enjoy this. And with due respect to the people who say that to me, 9 times out of 10, they're wrong. Now, again, it's easy for me to like games, so, you know, I'm a little bit of an easier target. But Jess is actually one of those people who is capable of looking a little bit deeper and saying more than just this is the genre they play, but it's like this is a game about ideas that somebody might be interested in, or this is something I think somebody could have a unique take on. And I mean, the challenge is that there's a lot of people now who are just like, it's like, you've got a reasonably sized audience, or you know how to talk to people. It's like, oh, hey, I'm just going to go give keys to my friends. And it's actually really transparent when you see that, because what happens then is you start seeing people who should be covering that material, people who maybe have a reputation for streaming content like that, who haven't even been asked. Now the problem is that every time somebody screws that up, you know, that's a client that potentially would have gone to somebody who actually cares and can make, like, not just make a living of it, but actually, you know, do the developer justice. That's one client that Jessequel potentially doesn't have and goes to, I mean, I've got a particular firm in mind, but maybe this isn't the time and place to talk about that. But one of the things I can say to the streamers out there, one of the ways you can protect yourself from this is one of 2 options. So one is to talk to the developer directly. Now this means, of course, that I'm making life a little bit more difficult for Jessequel, because of course if the developers can speak individually with streamers, then there really isn't necessarily a place for Jess. But I'm also somewhat confident in Jess's ability to position herself in such an environment because she genuinely adds value, where other managers of influencers and content creators will just turn it into another means through which they sort of, I guess, enforce loyalty. It's like, I'm the one who will get you the keys, so you better be nice to me. There's only so long that that can last. And I think the big one for me, so if Jess comes to me with a game, I am almost certain to play it. And that's because she has built a reputation. She has built a sort of a rapport with me. I mean, obviously with me individually. I mean, she's obviously somebody who's quite special to me in terms of both a streamer and a person. But, I mean, I want to put on a good show, right? So just because Jess said, you know, it's not just because, you know, oh, I kind of like Jess or whatever, that I play this game. She understands my cast, and she is also a certain person who, independent of, you know, my individual interactions with her, she is somebody I know who I know would not sell me up the river and just say, it's like, I really need to get coverage of this thing, so I'm going to give you a key no matter what. I think that counts a lot. And so again, even in a market where just about any idiot thinks that they can do what Jess does, there's 2 things again that I recommend to streamers. One, speak individually to developer, because, you know, the developer is going to want attention for their game. Again, if you're like Square Enix or something like that, probably not. In fact, a good example of individual relationships is I am less likely to play Square Enix games now because the person who does the keys for them will always send out these blanket emails. It's always like, yes, fill out your information, we'll consider you for the game. And I always get, we just didn't have enough keys. It's like, if I can predict ahead of time whether or not I'm going to be approved for a key, it's wasting my time to send me that email. Now, I always fill it out faithfully, and I always get the same answer. But that is a relation, like when I get the, here's the stuff that we're just, we really need to get coverage on, I don't help that person out, because I'm just another number for them, right? When the new Deus Ex comes along, I know I'm not going to get a copy of that. So at this point, it's like, whatever. If I'm at my wit's end, if I literally have nothing else to play, maybe I'll bother to help them out with their smaller stuff. But this is a pretty damaged reputation here, just because in the end I know they really don't care about my cast. I just wound up on a mailing list at some point for them. I've seriously considered just saying, please take me off your list. I don't think we're compatible. But the difference here with Jess, again, her words mean something. And for me, because I do have my option of games, it is the difference between whether or not I actually play something. Even tonight, I'm playing Shadowrun Hong Kong, not because Jess is working on it, but because she said, I'd actually kind of like to see you play this. But on top of individually talking with a developer, which I appreciate can be a little scary, and I mean, if they're in crunch time, they may not necessarily be in a shape to take your message. If you build an individual relationship with somebody like Jess, that will go a long way. One, you'll help them, but number two, the more about you that they know, and the more you show yourself to be somebody who can cover material in an interesting way and sort of give, again, it doesn't have to be glowing coverage. I don't think anybody's going to expect you to sell your audience out, and frankly, I think your audience is more deserving than to be sold out that way. But, to show yourself that, you're not going to go for the cheap laugh. So, for instance, for Wolcen and a couple of other games, I've commented on when the dialogue is a little low rent. And I get that that's not a high priority for a game that's in an alpha or something like that. But that's always been followed up with individual feedback saying, hey, just so you know, this is the sort of thing that I do here. I love the fact that there's no pre-recorded dialogue because it gives me something for my stream, but it makes the game seem a lot less professional when there's basic spelling and grammar errors. And then I gave some other details in terms of saying, here's some things that I think are working very well. Here are some things that I don't think are working as well. And that sort of stuff can get noticed by people. Other times it's not welcome. I mean, again, if it's a AAA development studio, everybody's got an opinion about how the game should work. Nobody has time to implement them. But in the case of, again, if you're not either in a position to speak to a developer, if the developer is not ready to speak with you, getting in touch with somebody like Jess is a really good way to sort of have this mutually beneficial relationship. One, you get content for your stream. Two, Jess gets a better portfolio in terms of, people that she can bring to developers and say, this is the access that I grant. That is, in the end, the added value that Jess brings. She doesn't just have a big mailing list that she contacts, because anybody can recreate that, right? You just need to hire her once and see who she manages to rope in, and she's done. She instead has that understanding of a streamer and connects somebody with a game. And I can say this from experience, right? I prefer getting an email from Jess about something than any generic person. And I like to think that that's reflected in her development. I mean, I can tell you firsthand, I've seen games that she's worked on and where they wind up on the Twitch ranking. So it's not just me as a content creator benefiting from her. She's actually somebody who can claim to be the sort of person who can bring a game up on the Twitch charts. But I think a little bit more importantly, if you're somebody who's starting out and wants to, one, help out indie games, but two, get a little bit more diverse content for your stream, building a relationship with somebody like Jesse Quill is not a bad way to go about that. Now, the difficulty is, of course, how do you know the charlatans from the real deal? And this is a big problem, right? It's easy for me to see who's just using as an excuse to give keys to their friends. I know because I've been the beneficiary of those kinds of keys, right? And it's not from Jess. There's actually somebody in particular I'm thinking of who that applies to. And all I can say is, like, at some point you're just going to have to kind of figure it out on your own. But the longer you do this, the better it is. And again, I think we have Jess in chat right now. I think if you guys ever have questions about this sort of stuff, keeping in mind that she has to make a living herself, you know, I'm sure if you are respectful of her time, and get in touch, I think she's going to be very happy to help you out. And more importantly, she's actually already given a talk on this. Now, unfortunately, Jess, I don't have the link, but if you happen to have that available, do feel free to drop that inside of chat. And I'm sure people who are considering doing something like this would be very grateful for your insight, because of course she's already given that to a room full of people who are hanging on her very words. Well, I mean, that's not even a shout out as a caster. I mean, that's for people who... I mean, okay, so like I said, what's the problem? Any idiot can say that I'm a manager of influencers and content creators. Any idiot can say that you're an influencer. I don't like calling myself an influencer. One, because I think it overstates my influence. And two, because I want to differentiate myself. I like to think that I am a little bit more than that. I mean, so I'll be honest with you guys. I watch my stream friends list, and I know a lot. I think, at the risk of sounding full of myself, I see your guys' activity on Steam a little bit more than I think you know, and it's not just the people who I follow. Hey, OCS1 Spectre, I'll just warn you, we're actually going to be wrapping up pretty soon. But I do kind of keep tabs on some of the Steam activity. I know the purchases and the wish lists that get made after I cast. So I know I'm not a nobody. But again, not to be too, not to oversell myself either. But again, the problem here is any idiot can call themselves an influencer, any idiot can call themselves a manager of influencer and content creators. Jess, again, I'm in a very nice position where, if you remember the start, like when I just moved, I had a backlog of stuff that I'd been given that I wanted to cover. I have my choice. Sorry, Kite. I am going to wrap up soon, so don't worry. But yeah, it's, you know, I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I have options in terms of the stuff that I cover. And as you can see, it takes me a long time to get through games because I spend time talking like this. So one, for anybody who wants to promote their game, and if they specifically want to get in touch with somebody like me, it's not just a matter of giving me a free game. Because, again, I have options and I want to put on a good cast. If you can get in touch with... I mean, so one, if you can position your game as an interesting game on your own, then you don't need somebody like Jess. But then, of course, you need to replicate that time and time again for each individual streamer. And I'll be honest with you, I may be worth giving a key to. I like to think that I'm worth giving a key to. But I'm definitely not worth taking time off of your development to convince to play your game. That would be overselling it. There are better streamers. Like, if you can get Total Biscuit to play your game and you want to put the effort into getting a streamer to play your game, Total Biscuit should be the one that you do. Even though there's a lot of times I really disagree with his opinions. But that's what makes the world interesting. Now, the fact of the matter is that game developers' time is much better spent developing the game. And so what you want to do is you want to find somebody who will provide added value of what you're doing. And so in this situation, that's Jess's role. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that probably Jess... I can sort of imagine her being good at providing feedback on the quality of a video game, but it's a little hard for me to imagine that the best use of her time would be sitting down with Unity and making a game from scratch. But she is very good with people, and like I said, she's able to sort of identify the soul of a cast. And so by paying a relatively nominal amount of money when you consider all of the expenses that go into the creation of a game, a developer can actually get access to a community that not only will play their game, but will actually be interested in it. Like, she's actually going to make the connection of not just streamers, but streamers who genuinely will benefit from the game. Again, it's never a perfect pickup, right? Nobody can, if anybody could predict with certainty who would like their game, then they would very likely maximize profits, right? Because you would only sell it to the people who would pay full price. But your best shot is actually with somebody like Jess, who takes the time to see streaming. And this is totally different from somebody who's just like, oh yeah, I'll call myself an influencer and I'll you know, I'll just get a list and I'll send it all to my friends. I mean, this is somebody who works for a firm that I'm talking about. This is the level of nonsense that can go on inside of this. So if you're a developer, you know, you do actually want to make sure you're getting in touch with the right person. And then if you're a streamer, this is how you get in touch with people who, you know, or with games that are good for your stream, and more importantly, it's a symbiotic relationship, right? The more good streamers Jess kind of gets and are stable, then, you know, the more that helps her out, the better quality of games that she's going to get, and as a result, you're going to get enhanced profile with the kind of stuff that she goes on. So, anyways, I think that ends the infomercial, but I think it needs to be said, because I think in the end, more and more people are trying streaming, which is good. More and more people are trying to position themselves as managers of influencers and content creators. Debatable whether or not this thing is good, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a gold rush where these people who just simply don't know any better are going to wind up being roped into these sort of cults of personality, which are just like, oh yeah, I can hook you up with a game. And what's basically going to happen is that either if these people want to continue on with their careers, the people who are just like a name are going to wind up getting the dregs, and then like the good stuff's going to go to their friends. And again, that's not good for the developer, because they should be connected with the people who will treat their games the best, as in be interested in it or provide a useful bit of commentary. Again, I wasn't necessarily very positive on Pro Gamer Manager. I am going to return to it because I want to see what they've done with the game, and more importantly, I actually provided them a couple of emails in terms of things that I wanted to see inside of the game. Now, whether they benefit from that is up to them, but certainly I'm engaged. And you know, there have been other ones where people are talking about, you know, how much they like the indie, and they basically cut and run on the title. And it's funny because that title actually came back and did better, but it wasn't through the so-called manager of influencers. They basically, I mean, they were talking about what a shame it was that they didn't take any of the feedback. Well, they were getting feedback from people who actually cared about the game, and they actually wound up making it a good one. So there's a few little tips for you. Like I said, Jesse Quill knows this industry a lot better, but from streamer to streamer, these are the reasons why you should be paying attention to people like Jess. You're about to leave this location and return to Heioi. Continue. The job is done. Right or wrong, you gave Tigath Wright the data he was looking for, and you got paid for it, although admittedly it was a pittance compared to what you were promised. A job's a job, though. Heioi, and further work awaits. Oh, not a problem at all, Jeff. Sorry. Not a problem at all, Jeff. That's what this stream's for. Sure isn't for entertainment. It's only education. Alright. I won't spend my karma until next game. I think I'm just gonna pick up my money. Oh, I do have teammates who I can upgrade those, so Comet's on level 6. So I can augment haste to level 3, formulates a new version of the haste spell that harnesses the latent wild magic of Hong Kong. Channeled haste increases target friendly's AP by 1 for 4 rounds. When cast, Goblet's accuracy is increased by 15% for 4 rounds. Nice, okay. Gain ability Consume Spirit. Goblet can now consume spirits and imbue herself with their power. Consuming Spirit heals Goblet for 20 HP total over 2 rounds, and her AP is increased by 1 during that time. Very tempting, but Goblet is my more support role, so I'm going to give her territoriality again. Isabel can sabotage with a mini launcher or... Okay, so when jacked into the Matrix, attacks to her physical body are reduced by 3 damage. So that's when she's outside. Alternatively, Isabel's mini... Okay, I gotta do the armor. I actually don't have a lot of armor penetration, so that's a good one. Duncan. Cyber War Shewasi Magnet Arm. Has a magnetic cyber arm installed, allowing him to throw back incoming grenade. Oh, that's so cool. Or a gas grenade. Duncan gains a new consumable item, a gas grenade. Grenade does minor HP damage, but creates a cloud of choking gas, which is... Okay, I gotta go with that. Gaiku. Gaiku's metal stance now... Oh, sorry. Gives a katana attack that can hit 2 adjacent targets, plus 2 damage. Cannot do AP damage. Or, Regenerate. Gaiku gains an ability that allows him to regenerate 6 HP per round for 3 rounds. Costs 1 and cools down in 2. I mean, I gotta go for that. So we can get a heavy laser for Kashai. I could do Mangler. Kashai gains a new ability in the melee system where its legs latch onto and tear armor away from... Oh, God. All of these are so good. It's funny. Like, all of this has been for melee attacks. I have actually been using him more for melee, so in this case we'll go for Mangler. I can change, okay? So I'm going to take the payment at the mission computer, and I think we're going to call it a night. I did say I wanted to do more than one run, but it's midnight, and I need to be up quite early in the morning, so... We'll at least clear out the mission computer. I also need to have dinner, but... workstation mission computer. The cool blue tones of the workstation's main menu fill the screen. No inbox. Open the jobs directory. Claim payment for the Eastern Tiger data. You submit the job is finished and wait the response. A few moments later, the message pops onto the screen. Tegeth Wright, 271. I appreciate your conviction in sticking with the job despite the complications involved. You've definitely earned some money on this job. I didn't see how much we got. About 1,000. That's definitely not worth it. Okay, tempting, but I'm going to finish the jobs that I have right now. Looks like we've got nothing else. Alright. I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm going to find somebody to host. I think I know who we're going to host tonight, but I'll do a quick recap. So, this was Shadowrun Hong Kong. It's a game that I started playing when it first came out, had a little bit of a hiatus, and then I had my move. I think I'm going to turn this into a fairly regular thing. So we're going to play this at least once, maybe twice a week. For those of you who like kind of isometric RPGs like Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, Icewind Dale, Neverwinter Nights, Wasteland 2, I mean, we're moving beyond isometric at this point. What else? Divinity Original Sin, Pillars of Eternity, the upcoming Tyranny, these sorts of things. Put this high up on your list. Shadowrun Returns, Shadowrun Dragonfall, Shadowrun Hong Kong, all excellent games. If you do want to play the whole series, I do recommend that you play them in order because they've only gotten better with each iteration. Really curious to see how this one ends. But it's on track to being another solid one. If you like XCOM style combat, you get a really kick-ass story alongside it. I mean, this world has existed since the 1980s. And it's the guy who originally made Shadowrun, Jordan Weissman, also creator of BattleTech. It's his game. It's his game company that's making it, Harebrained Schemes. And the whole team that works on this is incredible, right? It's not just one guy that makes a game, but it's great to have this continuity of purpose, and you can really feel it to the game. I particularly liked Dragonfall because it's easy to do a game that has fantasy creatures, even if it's cyberpunk. It's very easy to miss some of the grit that's from, you know, kind of the William Gibson style books that sort of serve as the inspiration for worlds like this. And they really went into the moral gray areas, and it looks like they're going to a similar direction with Shadowrun Hong Kong. So it is an adult story that's being told in these games as well, which I think is a really great one. And again, Dragonfall really set the bar for me in terms of the kinds of stories that you can tell on these things. So it is absolutely worth your attention. Again, if you love good stories in RPGs, you need to check out the Shadowrun series. You are doing yourself a disservice if you don't. If you're somebody who focuses a little bit more on mechanics of games and a little bit more on gameplay, there's still some content there for you. It's maybe not as fully developed as XCOM, because of course XCOM has to rely on its turn-based strategy, but it definitely is very similar to it, and it's very enjoyable in its own right. So while you would not play this game just to get your XCOM feelings in, I think it is as enjoyable to me as XCOM. And if you want to play the game a little bit more for that combat, I would recommend maybe turning the difficulty up a little bit, just so you can really get the full experience of the combat. I'm just playing on normal, which is it's perfectly manageable. So again, this still gets a high recommendation for me. I really enjoy games like this, and I think Harebrained Schemes I've yet to play a game I've not enjoyed from them. Now, I haven't played Necropolis, but so far I'm extremely happy with everything that they've been putting out. So, and I have kickstarted BattleTech, so I am really looking forward to playing that. It actually looks so much better than I thought it ever would. So I'm even more excited in that right. But yeah, with that in mind, it looks like we're back to the habit of just doing one run a stream. I'll try and get a little bit better on this, and one way I can do that is by starting the stream on time and getting a little more content in. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to continuing on with this game. And we did have a lot of really wonderful hosts. We've got Jesse Quill, Mr. Franz, Johnny Big Time, and the Ramblers still hosting us. We lost one. But let's just take a quick look and see who's online, because for those of you who are still hanging out, I would love to pass you on to somebody who I think is worth watching. And it looks like Kilgore Trout is still online. Definitely got a lot more viewers than I've got right now, so I'm certainly not doing him any favors by passing this along. But he is currently playing Star Wars Knights of the Kodor 2, The Sith Lords. Kilgore Trout's a fellow Canadian. He's a really great guy. I actually found him through the GOG channel. So I think in the spirit of playing RPGs, it's probably best to pass you off to him. I think it's absolutely worth your time. We do have a raid message, so if you want to come along... If you want to come along, that is how we do it. I'm going to be hosting him. Oh, sorry, Jesse Quill. I'm going to hang out for a little bit while I make dinner, and more importantly, I think it's, as I said, the best thing that a streamer can ask for is the chance to entertain you, and Kilgore is definitely worthy of that attention. So I leave it for you to see whether or not it's for your stuff. That's all for me, so have a good night, and we will see you on the other side.